What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Danger Room, powered by Untapped.gg. Super excited today. We have a just absolute fantastic lineup of events, fantastic lineup of talent for you today, and some awesome matches. I am joined by someone who I sometimes consider a friend, but today he's definitely a competitor and a bit of an enemy for me. KM Best. KM Best, how you doing, man?
I've embraced my role as the villain of this story. We both understand how we've set this up. You are the plucky underdog going against my legions of dead-eyed, tournament-winning assassins, all right? That is what you and your team have to handle from my side. I have a bunch of amazing players. I think, honestly, I might be the worst player on my own team. I'm really proud of the team I put together. I'm really proud of what I think they're going to be able to do here. Although I will say, for a group of dead-eyed assassins, I gotta say, we brought some questionable decks, if that's what we're talking about. If you expected us to all show up with all the best stuff, I'm not sure that actually ended up happening. There are definitely a couple of people on my team who we sort of brainstormed what the best lineup might be, and then we took not that. So I definitely think you've got that going for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's tough, right? I mean, you guys are all very tournament-ready, hyper-competitive players, I think is how I would kind of describe most of the players on your team, whereas most of the players on my team are definitely a lot more casual. And the format for today is we're going to have the first three undercard matches. They're all going to be a just regular one-on-one match, and what's really cool about this is that we went through all 8 of us and we all banned a card. So some people are a little bit frustrated with the meta right now. There's Shuris galore, you're seeing Thanos decks, you're getting leeched on turn 3. All of those cards are gone today, so we'll get into the ban list for a little bit later. But let's talk about my lineup of players. I definitely wanted to bring people from the more casual and fun and entertaining side on my side. So I have Loopy Fist, D-Money, and Alexander Casilla on my squad. KM Best, want to tell us a little bit about the lineup that you're bringing here today?
I brought some of the best players that I can possibly think of. Lambie Series is a former Hearthstone Grandmaster, an elite Marvel Snap player. Moyen won my Best of the Besties tournament, a $500 prize pool tournament. He went undefeated, not just in matches, like he went undefeated the whole tournament, 11-0, including the grand finals, which was a best of 3. And then I brought Cleanup 141, who is an absolute ladder killer, who brought Pool 2 decks to Infinite despite being in my MMR and my collection level range. So he was playing against the height of the Zabu Darkhawk meta, and instead he played Pool 2 and he got there. And I felt like that was an achievement just worth exploring, because that's just an unbelievable thing to do. All of them are incredible players, and you get through all of them, it's just me. It's just the first guy to have the highest MMR in the game. It's only me. It's only the guy who's never finished below rank 200. It's only that guy. Just me. Well, that's all you have at the end. You climb all those mountains. I mean, then it should just be easy for you, right?
It should be easy, man. I mean, no problem whatsoever, because you talk about all these hyper-competitive players. You know what cards they like to bring? A lot of the cards on the screen, but they're not going to have access to them today, and they're facing humans instead of bots. So let's go over our ban card list. First up, we have Leech. I believe that was the first one to get thrown out the window. I don't think anyone wanted to see Leech here today. Thanos are also gone. Thanos decks can be really fun, but a lot of times they get a little bit samey. We got rid of Shang-Chi, so the big monsters are going to have a hard time getting destroyed. She-Hulk's out the window, so a lot of those late game skip turn 5 strategies are going to be tough. You want to talk about our other 4 bans that we have here, KM?
Sure. So these are the later bans that we got into. Shuri was a card that I think everyone kind of knew was going to get banned, and it was just a question of when it would happen. I believe D-Money banned Shuri. Then we went on to Sarah. Moyen was sort of looking to target the kind of decks that would be available by banning Sarah. Ended up banning Sarah here, and finally Electro was my ban. Moon Girl was yours. The Electro ban, my thought process was I really don't want anyone playing Sandman or Galactus in this fun show match.
Yeah, and you kind of knocked both of them out of there together at the same time, right? So I definitely think that that's good. And then, yeah, my choice of Moon Girl was actually to stop other players from bringing Devil Dinosaur, even though that was my plan to bring Devil Dinosaur. We will get to our decks much later in the show. Yeah, let's first talk about our first match here today. So on my side, we have Loopy Fist. Loopy Fist, a very underrated streamer and YouTuber. Absolutely awesome, high energy, super fun content that he brings. Brings a lot of weird, off-meta, interesting decks. And today he brought his sneaky Destroy Null deck. So he has the Deadpool in there. We got pretty much the full Destroy package of Nova, Yondu, Bucky Barnes, Carnage, Venom. We have Wave to get a little bit early to try and pull out Null and to do some Death Wave stuff later in the game. Has the awesome pick of Negasonic Teenage Warhead, which I think is going to be really fun to see how that comes into play. What a surprise and crazy card. And then Deathlock on the top end. And the most important card based on what you're going to talk about, the Skillmonger. Was the only person on our team who brought the Skillmonger. And want to tell me a little bit about Cleanup 141's deck?
Well, see, that's the thing, right? You talk a lot about the off-meta potential of this deck, but what's really going to matter in this matchup is the stuff that's on meta. Killmonger, Wave. Those are the cards that are going to beat what Cleanup plays. And the thing about Cleanup is, he said, this is what I talked about how, I'm going to go out and recruit just the most dead-eyed competitive players you could find, right? Well, Cleanup was like, I love being the underdog. I'm going to bring Pool 2 Zoo. I'm going to bring a deck with only Pool 2 cards. And he sort of locked himself into a lot of unfavorable matchups by doing that, but he loves being the underdog, and you got to respect that, even though when I went out to look for teammates, I wanted overdogs, right? But I respect that he honors the way this tournament is supposed to go. He is going to be the underdog in this matchup because Killmonger and Wave are just very, very, very powerful cards against this strategy. It's hard for him to figure it out.
Absolutely. And before we intro and dive too deep into our first match, let's take a quick second to look at how Untapped can help you be the best Snap player possible.
Are you ready to reach infinite in Marvel Snap? Well, you need to make sure you're playing the best deck. Find all the top Marvel Snap decks on snap.untapped.gg. Discover the best decks for your rank and collection level based on the average cubes each deck earns and win rate. You can even see real-time stats about what's performing well for the current hot location. Discover the decks that you can build with your current card collection and import the deck directly into Marvel Snap so you can get into the game. While you're playing, use the Untapped.gg deck tracker to keep track of the cards in your and your opponent's deck, as well as what's been discarded or destroyed. Untapped.gg is your all-in-one destination for decks and stats so that you can conquer the meta. Get started by downloading the Snap deck tracker today at snap.untapped.gg.
Thank you again to Untapped.gg for sponsoring today's stream. Super excited. We are going to jump pretty quickly into match one here. I believe that everyone is ready to go. We'll kind of discuss a little bit as we're getting started here. But yeah, let's jump in if we're ready to check out that first match between Loopy Fist and Cleanup 141.
All right, we're in the game. Looking like a pretty slow hand from Loopy Fist, but he has that Killmonger, and that is sort of game-defining here. The Bar Sinister creates several awkward situations. If a blue Marvel ends up going in that Bar Sinister, it's hard for Loopy Fist to deal with.
Yes,
and
that
that's a
seems
snap
to be
from
one
Cleanup
of the
based on that.
That seems to be one of the strongest things that we can see here. The Khazar potentially even a possibility, but I think he'd definitely go favor that Boomer. Oh, he's just says, get your cards out of here. We're Yonduing on turn 1. I tell you what, man, the biggest problem with this matchup is that he's trying to charge his null up. No armor for you, sir. He's trying to charge that null up, right? And wanting to get that null kind of as big as possible. That's going to be one of the biggest problems with Yondu in this matchup because a lot of the cards are very, very small that's getting played on the other side. So we're going to see how Loopy deals with this. I think that maybe like saving that Yondu play for like turn 3 so you don't necessarily have to rip the Killmonger as early as you want to.
The early Killmonger force is definitely something he has to think about here, right? Like, this is a situation where he could be looking at a turn 4 Killmonger, and if he doesn't draw a wave, I mean, if he does draw a wave, I think he's probably going to lock the game up. But if he doesn't draw a wave and he has to blow the Killmonger early, this matchup from Cleanup is very much just, from Cleanup's perspective, it's which one of them are you going to play around, right? And if he's not forcing you to play around any of them, and he knows that at some point that Killmonger has to come down, like, it's a weird spot for Loopy Fist to be in.
Not great, not great. And I don't know, I think that you kind of want to hold the Killmonger best that you can. But sometimes it could just feel like it's rotting in your hand. What I'm looking at is he's playing out the Nova. I would almost think that like maybe like a Nova Deathlock to finish out the game would be like really powerful, right? Because that's going to beat out a Blue Marvel on the board. It's going to give you a win on Bar Sinister. And then also give the same effect that the Blue Marvel is getting, right? Three power to all of your cards as opposed to 4, but you're already winning that middle location. So I would have maybe thought about that a little bit and tried to figure out a line there, but it looks like he's just getting set up to destroy his Deadpool. He knows that there's no armor here, but we got a Cosmo looming. Didn't maintain priority.
So no wave is really, because like the Blue Marvel comes down here, there's no wave, and then suddenly Cleanup just gets to play a pretty decent number of cards. Like, it's at least 3 cards between the Ant-Man, the Iceman, and perhaps the Enchantress, depending on what else he may draw. The Killmonger coming down now means that there is going to be a free death in the future, so we are looking at probably Deathlock plus Bucky plus Death next turn, or perhaps a Negasonic at some point, but if Cleanup gets priority here, this is an awkward spot.
I think he's almost always getting priority here. He's going to be winning the middle lane. Left lane, it's going to be pretty hard. He's getting +4 in both those cards. I would almost be willing to throw priority to try and hold that Killmonger for later.
And the middle lane. Like, there seems to be, as far as I can tell, there's no way for him to not have priority here, which means the Negasonic is a 3/4.
Correct, yeah.
It's just going to be a point game.
We're going to be getting a free death, so maybe he can squeak out a way of attacking this free death somewhere. Looks like we're going to be playing towards the end here. Killmonger does go out. I would be thinking about saving that Killmonger till turn 6, right? Knowing you're probably not going to have priority. Really tough. Cleanup's not going to get draw this turn, right? He just has what's stuck in his hand. I think he's decked currently.
I think he might have one more card.
The only out I can see here. No, because he had four cards taken away, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that you're able to draw a card this turn unless he missed a draw prior. So this is going to be what he's stuck with.
It's going to be his turn. Okay, yeah. So the death wins the middle for free, and then it's a question of the other 2 lanes. You have this Deathlock that you can use to pop the Bucky, but that's not going to win that lane. So your question now becomes, how do you win Strange Academy, and will Cleanup mess up by not going for it? Like, where are we going here, right? Mm-hmm. I think that the Khazar Bishop might just be too big to overcome here. And so Cleanup just puts units on Strange Academy. And that would be enough, given the Blue Marvel buffs, and the fact that Bishop is getting a couple extra points.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on how this comes down. I mean, obviously we can't see what Loopy Fist's doing. If I'm in Loopy Fist's position, I think that there's a lot of chances that I'm just retreating here. Surprised not that Cosmo isn't coming down over on the left. I think that...
I don't think he's worried about it.
All in on right seems a little bit rough.
Well, how big can the left possibly get if we assume the death is hitting the Bar Sinister, right? How big can the left possibly get? You blow up that Bucky, you have a 5 and a 6, and they both go -2. You have a Deadpool, that goes -2. That's going to be as much points as you can possibly get in there. That 5 and that 6 are going to be 3 and 4, and then 2 more, and they're just going to lose to the fact that the Bishop gets 3 more points here.
I think that the death left into doing something funky with like a Deadpool Carnage and Bar Sinister is probably going to be the best bet. Why is this Negasonic Teenage Warhead coming down?
I don't know.
Is he trying to
but
kill
I don't think it's
kill
going
his
to
own
do
card?
much.
Yeah, I think
That's
that
a
this had to be a
7
retreat.
power Iceman. Whoa.
Yeah, I think that there was a card here. I think that he had to figure out that if you play the Deadpool first and then the Carnage, you're going to get 4 10-power Carnages. And then you play that Death over on the left side, and that's probably going to be your best chance of fighting. Now,
That's
he
actually not how it
obviously didn't know
works. All the Carnages will eat each other. You'd end up with
you're right.
1 10-power Carnage.
You're actually totally right. Yeah. Man, how have I done that in the past? Oh, yeah, and then...
I don't think there was a win there. I think that was just always a loss with like, and that's sort of why Cleanup had to snap aggressively in this matchup, because if he's not snapping aggressively, he's going to lose it on average because of the Killmonger and the wave.
Yeah, very interesting. I think maybe we needed I don't even know if Null top deck was going to be enough. Very interesting. I think that Loopy probably should have held back and ran there. It's very hard facing that lineup of Blue Marvels to get a win right or left.
And that was the precipitating event to clean up Snap, right? Like, that's what caused it. He was like, I don't think they beat 4 Blue Marvels in the middle. I
was thinking that you Carnage Deadpool middle, but still doesn't work. No,
it doesn't work.
No,
I wanna say one thing. Loopy Fist's Null is so good looking. Oh my god,
got
that is unreal,
foil, man.
That is unreal. Null. Shout out to Kim Jacinto. Just does not miss. Loopy holding back here. Doesn't want to play into an unrevealed location. Doesn't want to play into the Dark Dimension or the Oscorp Tower either.
It's a big chonky Hulk. Now this could be a really good play around the wave that's coming down in turn 5. So this Agent 13 into playing the Hulk into Sinister London to finish things out could be a huge factor of what ends up happening this game, which is kind of crazy. Like usually you don't see like that Agent 13 be a huge factor, but having that just giant stat stick is going to be huge for him if the wave comes down in turn 5.
I think what Cleanup is weighing here is if he loses priority and gets Negasonicked on the Sinister London, which is sort of what he's thinking about here, the risk of course, playing on the Sinister London and it going to the Oscorp Tower is immense, though. Now, Negasonic, not a great card generally in this matchup, not just because of all the 1-drops, but also the armor. Now, Loopy Fist at this point is taking a lot of turns off. This is suddenly a situation where, like, Armor Nightcrawler looks vaguely plausible in the London. Cleanup is snapping. We might not be playing the Nightcrawler. Yeah, I don't know. I'm tempted to do that.
I'm running here. I think you have to run if you're Loopy Fist here. I mean, your tempo is all sorts of out of skew. You didn't get the armor could be coming down and looming, especially Killmonger's your most important tool in this matchup. Armor can now land on 2 different lanes, which is really, really big. If I'm Loopy Fist, I'm running all day here. But it's hard, man. It's hard to work out these matches when you feel like you have some level of advantage in your deck.
I mean, I think the key thing for Loopy Fist, though, is since he's not playing a straight-up Deathwave deck, all the other stuff his deck does isn't that good in this matchup, right? So when he needs to be snapping is when he gets to do the Deathwave thing. That's the games that he wins, right? And identifying that situation is hard to do.
Yeah, maybe we get the Bucky and landing. Oh, they're both gonna land.
Both went to armor lanes.
Yeah, that's got to be rough, man. Didn't the Blue Marvel and Sinister London? That Nightcrawler's ready to move.
The Nightcrawler
don't retreat
moves
now. Why are you gonna retreat now?
Yeah, the Nightcrawler moves and then a Hulk. Oh my god.
Can't even do the wave stuff. He's just out. He just says, I don't want to be in this game no more. That's fair. That's fair.
I wouldn't have wanted to be in that game either.
Yeah, I think you had to retreat there. I'm not sure how
retreat on the snap there.
How many times Loopy's played battle mode or how familiar he is with this format, but you got to be really safe with your cubes because when you start getting down to this point where you're at 4, 3, 2 cubes and your opponent has a full health bar, the grind back and just clawing your way back can feel so rough. Your opponent can start aggressively snapping on you on like turn 1, no matter what their hand is. Lots of things can come out here to cause a lot of problems.
To be fair, I think in this matchup, Cleanup definitely doesn't want to be, like, he wants to be aggressively snapping, but he has to have a pretty good idea that he's not getting wave Killmongered, or that he has some way to play around it, right? Because those cards are just absolutely dominant. If you don't have a way to play around it, they do define the matchup. And one thing that I think really sticks out to me about this matchup and how it's played out so far is not one time has there been a turn 5 wave. Not one time.
Yeah. Yeah, we
And
could have maybe
that's-
seen it on that last game, but his destruction triggers were just so slow. He didn't draw any of his
Yes.
destruction. He didn't draw Killmonger, he didn't draw Deathlock, he didn't draw Carnage. And that could be so rough when your only play with Wave is Death. Even though that Death's sitting in your hand, you need to do something with it. By the way, Deathlock, the pair of handsome Deathlock lads sitting in Loopy Fist's hand right now. I don't know if you could check that, but he got one off Camp
Yeah.
Lehigh.
The
He's going to have an
Lehigh.
army of destruction.
An army of destruction, one of which costs 4 now. Excellent.
Well, at least you
Alright.
got 2 there, right?
So now we actually have both Wave and Killmonger, and this is it, right? Like, this is the situation. This is you snap, you play Killmonger, or maybe you do it next turn, but like, you get to kill that Sunspot. You get to kill that Agent 13. You have Death and Wave.
Well, you could be scared, right? I mean, Cleanup has priority here, so we know he has the armor in hand. Loopy Fist obviously doesn't. The armor's going to be coming down on Vormir over on the right, but I think that I think that playing out this Killmonger, this might be your last chance to do it. I think that it's going to be correct. You are going to ping off the Agent 13, the Sunspot, and the Yondu, so you're going to have that free death or
Yep.
2 energy death to follow up with the Wave. Wave Null here isn't going to be super powerful. The Null is going to be a huge non-factor, I feel like, this whole game with how
I actually
how
don't know
low
about
curve-
that. If we go something like Wave into Deathlock, like, or if we go something like, okay, so here it, whoa, see, like, this is kind of wild to me. Like, Cleanup knows he has to snap aggressively, and I think maybe just having the armor is enough to convince him to do it, but we get a Killmonger coming down here, and, like, I'm not saying that I would have snapped here 100% if I was Loopy. I'm definitely not saying he's 100% winning from here because his early tempo is so off, but, I mean, there's a lot of really awesome things he can do here. Like, he gets a lot of value out of a lot of stuff here. He's never going to be able to actually make that Bucky work because
Yeah,
he's going to need to, unless he wants to pass up on the Wave, which, you know, go
I
off,
would
I
not,
suppose.
It's
Cleanup
tough,
is
man.
still, like, the fact that Loopy just doesn't have any early game plays has really been on display here as, like, an issue.
Little problem with Loopy Fist's camera. He
Yeah,
looks a
Loopy
little
Fist
bit different
looks
right
completely
now.
different all of a sudden. That's very interesting.
Might have had something on the production
He
side.
finally took off the VTuber rig, and that's the real Loopy Fist, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so he's going Deathlock on the Killmonger, bringing that death down a little bit harder, trying to push the Null maybe to give us some options here. Maybe we're probably going to go Wave Carnage to just try and get that Null as big and meaty as he possibly can. We do have the Cosmo coming down this turn. We cannot see where Loopy is playing. Loopy, snap back! He's saying there's going to be no retreats on turn 6 for you. If he's playing that Wave middle, it is going to be very, very sad. And I think that that's going to just completely cost him the game with this Cosmo coming down in priority. We don't know where he played it.
Oh my god.
Definitely see it
That's
coming
so
down middle, though, which is
horrifying.
really scary.
If that goes middle, I mean, oh my god. Oh no.
And it's going to be the whole game there, too, right? Because
If he loses
Luke
that,
decided to snap. Cleanup might run, though. Like, there's a chance that Cleanup thinks about leaving here and saying, like, my position's not great. He's gotten his destruction triggers. I don't know where this wave is coming. He didn't
I
scare him.
think I
Oh, it
would've
did come down left. It did come
He's
down left.
not leaving. Oh, this Null and this Death are going to be so large.
Okay, Noel coming
Thanks,
down
what
at
was
10
it you
power.
said about Null not being good here? That's crazy.
Okay, so let's think about what can be done here from cleanup side. Mr. Fantastic or Blue Marvel are both considerations, but do either of those really push him ahead in any lane? I think he just has to run. Maybe with a Nightcrawler.
Running is the same as leaving here. He doesn't run ever.
That's true. So maybe with the Nightcrawler going right, and then If the Nightcrawler goes right, maybe we see like a Blue Marvel. Maybe he can sneak out a win right and
Yeah,
middle.
it's Blue Marvel left, move Nightcrawler right, and assume that they put the 10 in Vormir and not... Like, it's a question of, like, whoa, okay.
Psycho Enchantress for the Null. Kind of love the idea behind that, but he has priority, so it's not going to work.
So the interesting bit is Blue Marvel in Necrosha only ties it, and that's a really bad thing. If Blue Marvel actually won the Necrosha, it would be an absolute... You'd be able to play an actual game here. But now, Blue Marvel doesn't win the Necrosha.
Middle?
I don't... Where's he supposed to move it?
Well, if he plays Blue Marvel left, moves the Nightcrawler left, it actually wins it?
Right, but then he loses the other
can't
two
win
lanes,
right or
which
middle,
are the
right?
places that he's playing cards, right?
It's tough. What is this Enchantress?
I don't know.
What is this Enchantress? What are you doing? That was
I think it's just an I'm losing kind of play. So if the Blue Marvel had gone middle, you should note that he would have still lost. He would have still lost that game on the tiebreakers by 1. But Lubyfist opened himself up to losing to just if the Blue Marvel. He would have still lost that game on the tiebreakers pretty significantly. Interesting play from Lubyfist putting it over on Necrosha, because all of my thought processes during that game were, we want to get some way to target all 3 lanes and beat one of them on the Vormir, but obviously he couldn't play in the Vormir because his first card would be destroyed, and I think that might have gone overlooked.
Very true. I completely missed that. Oh, that's what the cleanup play was. He was turning off the armor so that when he plays into Vormir, he would try and kill it. That is psycho. I love that.
He's really good.
What an awesome idea from cleanup.
So the card draw is actively bad for cleanup here, because these games are mostly predicated on cleanup wants Lubyfist to not draw Killmonger Wave. The card draw makes that so much more likely to happen.
If I'm looking at the card draw here, I'm seeing I finally have Bucky on 2. We're still missing our turn 1 play. He hasn't had a turn 1 Deadpool.
He played a Yondu, I think.
He did have a Yondu, but I was saying he hasn't had a Deadpool on turn 1 all day. We have had Yondu come out. We have Buck in hand. We have Wave in hand. 2 of our very key cards here. Looking at Cleanup's hand, no armor, no Cosmo yet. Lots of things can happen here. No Nightcrawler.
To me, this game, just based on has Killmonger, has Wave, looks like an L for Cleanup. Now, that said, suddenly the Avengers compound makes Cosmo live to stop Wave, which is extremely interesting. If Cleanup can take priority and have Cosmo to stop Wave and or Killmonger, suddenly there's like a really interesting way that this game could play out.
Lots, dude. These matchups. This is the one I was most excited about because both of them have really cool counters to each other, right? And I think that there's a lot of funkiness going on. I still can't stop thinking about how we completely missed how amazing that Enchantress play was by Cleanup. That was so cool. Sorry, a little tangent, but there's just a lot of different kind of levers that can get pulled. Like this Negasonic has been a non-factor, but maybe we find a way for this Negasonic to now be huge if he can like snipe off the Cosmo that's trying to come down to Avengers Compound.
He'd need to have priority here.
Oh,
that's bad for Cleanup. I think. I mean, the Null could matter, but it's still not likely to beat Death and Null, right?
Playing the Bucky out here, especially after seeing Olympia raw, feels a little bit off. It's getting armored all day, right? Like, I mean, a very, very good chance that an armor is able to come down. But maybe you can get like a
The Attuma can now be played in the context of the armor being down.
Yeah, maybe he can even do like some Titania plays to mess up this Avengers compound. Like if he's really savvy, maybe we can get this Titania to come down at the right time. It does look like
play it now. That is
a cleanup
so wild
snap?
to me. That is an incredibly aggressive snap from Cleanup. That is.
I think he loves having the armor coming down on the Bucky. I think he was expecting maybe a Deathlock.
I mean, like this is a deck that runs Killmonger. You just I don't know if you have the latitude to make a play like that.
The Killmonger over the Attuma here on 4.
No, you do Killmonger into Wave, Death, and then Attuma, right? Death Attuma is how you're going to do it, right? And since Cleanup is probably not going to... Like, he has to just top deck Cosmo, which I guess is possible, but... Boy. Like, a Cosmo top deck, I guess, okay. We have, I guess there's a chance, right? If he top decks a Cosmo here, this is a winnable game. If he does not top deck a Cosmo here, I think Cleanup's in a lot of trouble.
What are your thoughts with the choice to just run out the Skillmonger here? Do you think it's just trying to push that death down so he can set up the wave?
Yeah,
I think he
you
needs
do it
some
now
kind of
for sure.
destroy. Needs some kind
You
of destroy
absolutely do it
trigger here. He can ping off this Titania as well.
Yeah, you absolutely do it now. Every time.
I can't imagine he's expecting a second.
He did
Nora
not
to
draw
come
the
out.
Cosmo. This is sort of the issue. If you don't draw the Cosmo... Oh, wait, we're not waving? Oh, man.
Is he just slamming the Atuma?
He's just slamming a Tuma.
Maybe he's scared of the Cosmo. I mean, I think that it's a completely fair thing to be terrified of here.
I
right?
mean, that is the kind of thing that you would be scared of, but, like... I guess, okay, because, like, next turn we actually do have a 3-cost death anyway. But that's not the reason that Wave is good here. Oh, we're just playing the death in the middle.
Very interesting.
And then just gonna play a null somewhere else. And then it's gonna be, Cleanup gets to play the game of, oh my god, he gets to play the guess where the null goes game. Oh
interesting.
no.
He's got to play another card out here, though, right? I would just slam another card. Yeah,
Wait,
even if it's
yeah,
just
the
a card
carnage goes in
for
the
two.
middle. Okay, sure. Why?
Just slam it, right? And it looks like he's gonna be ahead middle.
Is there a way for
look.
Cleanup to take it with Mr. Fantastic? No.
No, Blue
Blue
Marvel
Marvel.
potentially can tie,
Blue
but is
Marvel
that going to
could.
be enough? Is that enough total power to win if you just get a tie? Maybe with the Agent 13, you're looking at Blue Marvel is a 9 power card, a 9 power card. Agent 13's 2. You're
If we
adding
go
about
Blue
12 power
Marvel,
here.
Agent 13, that is very close to null.
I think it beats a null. It beats a null, right?
So
we're gonna
put it
tie-
on the
we're gonna
bishop.
tie
The
middle.
bishop goes to 6.
Is he just saying I'm going to beat your freaking null?
Oh my god.
Are we not
Loopy
playing
Fist
a
almost
null?
made the coolest play of all time. Loopy Fist is about to make the coolest play of all
Is he
time.
playing? Is he Negasonicing?
Yes.
He has advantage. He has priority.
He has priority. He's about to make the coolest play I've ever seen in my entire life.
Is he gonna put the null? Oh my gosh, dude! What a huge round here. This is for Loopy Fist's life. If he loses this game, it is over, and Cleanup takes the win. If Loopy Fist can win, he's gonna be up 4-2 and have an extra life guaranteed. Where Cleanup 141 has to beat him twice. Oh
And that's
no! he
hard
pulled
to
it, pulled
do.
it.
All right,
Come
he's no
on.
longer making the coolest play of all time. Wait, no, that's
Is
not.
he still doing it?
I don't know.
The
He
Negasonic.
better
As
not
long
put
as
those in
the
the same. He better not put those in the same location.
I think he went Negasonic left and Deadpool right, which is
Which
going
works,
to win by a Oh!
What's happening?
Deadpool! He got it! He got it!
He got it.
He got it! He's gonna win by a single point!
No, he's gonna win by way more than 1 point. No, yeah, oh yeah, he's gonna win by
Exactly
1
a
point.
single
That's
point!
incredible.
Let's go! What a play! What a play!
Negasonic
Oh,
Teenage
Clean-
Warhead!
Cleanup's in disbelief. I cannot believe you don't play the Deadpool and the Negasonic in the same lane. What a crazy
Yeah, no, I
person.
don't know what that was.
I have no idea either. Maybe he was panicking. Oh my gosh! And Cleanup down to 2 health. Now
We're in the high
game,
stakes.
every game here now, snapping does not matter. Retreating does not matter. We're going
To
to
be
play all
clear,
the way till the end, and it's
I
going to be
think
2
Cleanup
cubes
snapped
per game.
significantly. He snapped significantly too aggressively in that matchup.
it's
Especially
hard-
after having 2 cards drawn. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the odds that you're going to get Killmongered and Waved, which are the only things that really matter here, are so much higher.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard, right? When you have priority and you can armor a Bucky, man, does that feel
I get
good.
it.
There's been so many times on ladder, but this is a ladder, right? You have to know the other intricacies of what Loopy Fist can do, and I think they overlooked it. Loopy Fist with the play of the round so far, though, with that Negasonic. What a psycho!
That's unbelievable. That's so good.
Maybe he was seeing like, well, I guess he had no idea that Cleanup had the null, which is crazy to see.
Yeah,
him
like the fact that he didn't know that Cleanup had the null and he still made that play is actually berserk, right?
Maybe he was trying to snipe off a blue Marvel. Maybe was his idea.
I have no idea because normally against almost every turn 6 that can be played here, that is
the stones on this man. The stones on this man to make that play. Mojo World definitely going to be in favor of Cleanup 141, I believe. I mean, he just has a
it's very hard for a Deathwave deck to win Mojo World.
And he armored the Bucky Barnes.
Brutal.
If I was Cleanup, I would snap as a joke because I think you can hit the snap button, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, but it makes the sound, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it makes the sound. I always just aggressively hit the snap button whenever I can. That's just kind of my jam, though. All right, Yondu comes out. What did we ping off there? Was that the Mr. Fantastic we got?
Yeah, that was Mr. F.
Charging up the null a little bit. Maybe just looking to... Oh, the Iceman got that Deathlock.
Yeah, Cleanup's just looking to draw a card here. The question is, we're just going to Cosmo the middle, probably. Which is a bit of a giveaway, but also it's like, alright, you know... You can't do much else. I would think about Cosmoing the big house, but I think right now his power concerns are greater than his I want to turn off your ability to deathlock a Yondu concerns.
Sure. I've seen a Negasonic coming out. I think you have to deathlock hoping to get a wave on 5. But
Negasonic is actually pretty interesting here in the context of like if that goes middle and Cleanup's hand is pretty close to empty. So if the Negasonic goes middle, it's preventing him from playing stuff there unless he gets something cheap.
He does have the Nightcrawler that can schmoove. He does have a couple other possibilities here. I think that Cleanup's expecting that that Deathlock to go middle or to go right.
Yeah, he put it over there with the thought process of like, hey, you know, look
at this looming presence that is Negasonic Teen Torhead.
Where is Luffy supposed to play a card?
If you play Carnage on that lane, does the Carnage blow up, or because Negasonic's destroyed, does their effect not take place?
I mean, I'm assuming he's gonna Carnage the big house, but like, yeah, this is super awkward. I think we're just gonna. I think what Cleanup is doing here is just saying, well, I'm winning the big house, I guess. Like he can move the Nightcrawler and play the Blue Marvel. And, like, this is such an awkward situation. I think he had the right play. Move the Nightcrawler, play the Blue Marvel, and just be like, you're not playing 4 cards here. Like, you are simply never playing 4 cards here. Oh,
did he play the Deathlock on the Negasonic?
To the...
What the hell, dude? I don't know how this interaction works.
None of these plays are good for Loopy.
I think he just slammed the Deathlock right, say it's 5.
We're about to find out the answer to your question about the Carnage, by the way. You can't slam the Deathlock to the right. It's been the big house. Is,
because it's 4 now. Because
it's 4.
True. Very true.
So he can either Carnage there or like this is just a very awkward spot. Negasonic giveth and Negasonic taketh away here. Wait, she dies first, right before that. Okay, so
hey,
cool,
more you know.
Cool. Now we get to know how that actually works. Black Panther just getting dropped on here. That is probably going to do it, right? Like, it's not actually going to win that lane, but the other 2 lanes are going to be won. There are not plays that win Loopy Fist this game with this hand.
I forgot that Loopy Fist had Venom in his deck. I believe this is the first time he's drawn it. That's crazy.
Yeah. Cool Inkified Venom, too.
I mean, there's no reason to scoop here, but this feels scoopable.
Yeah, I mean, you play it out, but you're also never winning.
Yeah. Death can't go right. Death middle wins it, but then you're losing left and right by plenty. Is he just gonna do the BM scoop by just hitting end turn with nothing?
So I think this illustrates the point I was making earlier. Is like these are the games Cleanup would have been wanting to snap in. The games where the stuff that beats you isn't happening, and instead he ended up snapping in a game that both Killmonger and Wave were played. And that ended up costing him those 4 cubes, and that can be all the difference.
Don't retreat. I believe you always hit end turn there instead of.
Yeah, you always make a play because it's the same.
Well, you can just not make a play and just see what your opponent plays, right? Just to get, I guess, like a hint of information. But Understandable. It's tough. There's no wins. Yo, we are on the final game. Both players, 2 cubes, no
Two
retreats,
Raptors.
nothing going on.
So Cleanup's going to be able to armor that lane, and you know that Loopy Fist is going to be looking for a Carnage there, don't you? He has armor and Cosmo. Double on reveal effects. Who does that impact?
He's easily putting the armor. He's gonna resist.
He's
Is
going to
Loopy
resist.
Fist gonna
But like,
resist?
here's the thing: he's gonna Cosmo wherever the Deadpool goes.
Yeah, the Deadpool
Like if
definitely
Loopy
felt like a
Fist
bit of a
puts the
non-factor.
Deadpool in the Savage Land. So now it's going to be Cleanup with priority. He's going to Cosmo the Deadpool lane if he can. He can't.
He's not unable to. Maybe just a Skillmonger middle. Get that death for free.
Yeah,
then the
that's
Cosmo
a
maybe?
big
Then
deal.
the-
This is it, right? Like this is it. This is a
The-
Killmonger death game. This is a Killmonger wave game. This is the thing that we're looking for here.
This is scary though because
Whoa, he's actually just playing the Negasonic?
I cannot imagine that that's good unless you're playing it. I have no idea. How does it work if you play it left? It's just a 3/4. If you play it middle, you
left
don't have
it's a
priority.
3/4.
You're just stopping yourself from doing anything. I don't know if you can do that.
If you play it middle and Cleanup passes on the collapsed mine, doesn't that put you in a really awkward situation? But now Loopy Fist has priority.
The problem with priority though is now you just can't play Negasonic anywhere, right?
Well, Negasonic is already there.
Well, he just can't play in Kamertage. But I guess
Right.
he has this looming presence. But I mean, if this stays there until turn 5, how does he deal with it, right? What's his
Yeah,
plan?
he doesn't have a way of like actually putting units into there, ever. But I guess he's gonna Deadpool it. He's gonna put his own Deadpool there and then wave. That would be my thought. He's gonna play the Deadpool and then wave, or he's just going for a death. Death dominant here.
Is he
Very
playing Death in the
powerful card.
Negasonic? I'm very confused as to what's happening. I think that it's Death. I think it should be Death like Nova Deadpool Wave. Honestly, just
Something
play all
along
the
those
cards.
lines, yeah. You
Play
don't
all
need
the
to play the
cards,
death now, though. The wave should do it. The wave should lock
Maybe
this game
wants
up for
maybe
Loopy
wants priority.
For
There's
what
potential-
purpose?
I don't know. That's
Because it's not like he's going to get Cosmoed now.
He almost wants to throw priority, right, for Negasonic, because then
Yeah.
he can play a card there, and then if
there's a very awkward Negasonic mini game going on here.
yeah.
But like the wave should make it irrelevant, I feel like.
All right, what is he doing? He's playing Death right, Wave left to take a win there. Okay, but does it? Yes, +3 against +2.
What happens if Cleanup plays Mr. Fantastic and Loopy Fist plays into the Kamartage?
He would ping off the Negasonic. He's basically saying, no Mr. Fantastic for you, sir. He's saying you are not allowed to play Mr. Fantastic mid. What does he do? He just plays right. What? This is crazy. You can't play middle.
No, yeah, you can't play middle.
This Negasonic is insane. He's
I
already
think
hit
it
a
works.
turn.
I think he gets there. Here's a question, though. No, there's no question. I don't think there's a play that Cleanup has that can win.
What does Blue Marvel right look like?
Well,
No, because he's playing
Blue Marble
Noel.
right would win the left and would maybe win.
I think he's playing the null
Would not
right,
win
but
the
I don't-
collapse line. He put a null there that's 3 power. They go to 18. So the Blue Marvel would add 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, the Blue Marvel would win the collapse line, actually.
But he would tie, and then they'd only win left by 2.
No,
no,
he
he
would win. He would win
win.
left and collapse mine. He'd win left and right if he had Blue
Wait,
Marvel. But
I
he does
think-
not have Blue Marvel, and it
doesn't have Blue
doesn't
Marvel?
matter. I think Loopy Fist is gonna take this one.
Absolutely insane games. Man, I just
Wave!
this Negasonic, I was thinking was going to be a bit of a liability for Loopy Fist, but it came up so unbelievably clutch in two of these huge games. Loopy Fist from Team Binks taking game one. Let's go. What an amazing match. What an absolutely fantastic match. I think the cleanup definitely hindered himself a little bit by going for this pool 2 Kazoo deck. He got the really unlucky roll by landing on Loopy Fist, but Loopy Fist showed up and he did what he was meant to do, which is win out that game after being down by a lot.
It is, it's an unfortunate thing. Like, both Cleanup and I played decks that we're sort of known for, and being known for a deck means that your opponent can bring a deck that's like, all right, well, I have some shit. I've got some stuff that's ready for you. I've got some things that are ready to beat you. And in this case, Wave and Killmonger were that. So consider that one mountain climbed.
Well, that was an absolutely awesome first game. So much fun. And it looks like we are going to jump into a quick ad break here. We're going to be back really soon. I think it's going to be about 5 minutes, but we'll jump into chat a little bit about game 2. But we're going to jump to break and be back really soon.
Are you ready to reach infinite in Marvel Snap? Well, you need to make sure you're playing the best deck. Find all the top Marvel Snap decks on snap.untap.gg. Discover the best decks for your rank and collection level based on the average cubes each deck earns and win rate. You can even see real-time stats about what's performing well for the current hot location. Discover the decks that you can build with your current card collection and import the deck directly into Marvel Snap so you can get into the game. While you're playing, use the untap.gg deck tracker to keep track of the cards in your and your opponent's deck, as well as what's been discarded or destroyed. Untap.gg is your all-in-one destination for decks and stats so that you can conquer the meta. Get started by downloading the Snap Deck Tracker today at snap.untap.gg.
This is my great day. Not only does Spider-Man fall into my clutches, but my greatest invention is ready. Don't expect applause.
I love watching Cleanup 141 in order to improve my Marvel Snap gameplay.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jay Hugs, the #1 Marvel Snapper in the state of Texas. Check me out on YouTube at JHugsPlays or catch me live on Twitch at twitch.tv/JHugs. See you there.
Welcome back. I'm KM Best. I just took an L, but tonight I bounced back. We are going to regain our status as the villains here. Binks' team, the Heroes, has taken game one, but it's okay. You always gotta lose one game to give them false hope. We are going to run it back. That is how this is going to work, and I, KM Best, am proud to introduce the next member of my team, which is Moyen. Moyen is an unbelievable card game player, an unbelievable talent. He won my Best of the Besties tournament, and he brought an absolute off-the-wall deck for today. This is something he wanted to bring in his heart of hearts. I don't think it's the thing he thought was the best option for this tournament, but it's something he really wanted to bring. And it's like I said, it's like I talked about with Cleanup. I went out and I recruited these, cold-eyed killers, and what I got instead was, human beings who want to have some fun. And this is definitely a deck that has a lot of potential, but will need to be piloted well, and more importantly, will need to draw well in order to realize that potential.
Yeah, absolutely. Those Mr. Negative decks are a bit feast and famine, and we have a very unique deck from D-Money as well. D-Money used to be a Hearthstone streamer, now goes full in on Snap. Absolutely awesome dude, plays a lot of off-meta stuff, as you might see by some of the choices in this deck. So we see the Snow Guard. As anyone ever thought that a competitive deck would have a Snow Guard in it? World's first. We have just a pretty standard Cerebro 2 list. We have the Brood, Scorpion. We got a Storm, which can come into give a little bit of problems over to Moyen. The Snow Guard should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see what he ends up doing with that. But one of the biggest things that we're seeing is that there's some pretty powerful on reveals in Blue Marvel, Cerebro, Mr. Fantastic, and Moyen actually brought the Rogue. So it's going to be a little bit scary. I think that this is going to be a lot of back and forth. Cerebro 2 decks, very consistent with how much power output that they can have, so it could be a bit predictable sometimes when you're watching these decks and say, oh, I need to beat exactly this much power here, I need to beat exactly this much power here. Whereas, if you're looking at the Mr. Negative deck, it can do nothing for 5 turns and then blow up and slam down 100 power. So it's going to be a very good piloting duel here to see who can snap, who can retreat properly, and get the most out of their decks.
Yeah, I think that the ceiling on Moyen's deck is certainly higher, but he definitely needs to be drawing his cards that actually do things on turn 1, 2, or 3. Bast important, Brood important, Zabu important, right? Like, these are the things that he's going to be needing to rely on, and if he doesn't see those, the consistency of D-Money's list could be something that is dangerous.
Awesome. And one more time, just got to shout out untapped.gg for powering these decks and these amazing players. And we are going to jump in here to game 2. We got D-Money on the Cerebro 2 with Snow Guard, and Moyen on the kind of Wong on reveal Mr. Negative list. Iron Man going to 6, going to be a little bit tough. Usually want to put that out on 5.
I kind of think the Zabu or the Brood would have been better hits here. Like, look, this is just sort of what the deck wants to do. Zabu into Mr. Negative. Like, yeah, I agree with this snap from Moyen. If you think that you are going to be able to do the thing your deck does, you're going to snap it because that's why you brought the deck. If you think that your deck is not worth snapping on when you get to do Zabu into Mr. Negative, then why did you bring it in the first place?
Yeah, pretty straightforward plan, right? If you have Zabu in a negative, you hit that snap button. I cannot agree with you more. He even has like Brood Bast to follow it up, so out of hand, even after this turn 3 Mr. Negative, he has a ton of power coming out. The Dream Dimension is gonna be a little bit scary. It doesn't affect the Iron Man because it already ate that Iceman charge.
Yeah, it almost negates the Iceman in a way. I think what Moyen has to think about here, though, is Bast on the Mr. Negative is good. We could go Bast and Brood and sacrifice a negative draw, but if he opts to not do that because there's a Luke Cage out there, he's like, all right, it's going to be fine. With a Brood in hand, that is an eminently winnable lane for Moyen.
Yeah, I think that's just an easy slam. Brood left. Now the Bast is looking a little bit weak here. Now that you're looking at it, because now you're actually knocking down the Wong, but you are
Wong's
knocking
power
up
doesn't
Iron Man
really
and
matter
Iron
that
Man.
much,
That's
though, does
very
it?
true.
Like,
very true.
The Wong's power might matter a little less than the Ironheart's power, and if you play them in the same lane, it balances out. And the Bast gives you an extra body to hit with the Ironheart if you feel like you want that. Now, if you don't feel like you want that, that's a completely different thing, right? If you think, I want an extra body to hit with that Ironheart because I'm going to need it in the face of the power the Cerebro deck is going to put there, that's one thing. But if you don't think that, and I think you might be right not to think that, yeah.
If I'm D-Money here, I'm just really hoping he's only losing 2 cubes this game, because this is looking like a pretty nasty play here with the Brood. Obviously, they do have the way to get over it, but you're looking at that Wong. It has an Ironheart. There's too many things to be worrying about here. Plus, the looming draws that these Mr. Negatives cause is really, really scary to deal with. You know, as every single turn, you're like, did he get a flipped Iron Man? Did he get a flipped Mystique? You know, what kind of just disgusting play am I potentially going to have to go up against?
Oh,
The Surfer is going
we
to
talk
be
about disgusting.
devastated,
That's
dude.
as disgusting as it gets.
Oh, boy. Looking at both these players, what's your play pattern here? I'm almost looking from D-Money's hand. Probably you just slam that Mooster Fantastic middle. Probably your best play that you have there. You're always scared of that Rogue potentially coming down, so you want to hide the Cerebral Mystique for later. Over on Moyen's side, maybe thinking the Ironheart this turn, just to get it out there.
I think
get
you
some
have
extra
to play
power.
something, but the risk you're running is you're going to end up overcommitting to the flooded location, right?
Sure.
What you need to do is win another lane at this point, and unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of good ways to accomplish that.
I'm
Now,
almost throwing the Ironheart right.
I don't think you're ever doing that, right? Like that ends up with that's significantly less power. I do think we are ending up like going Bast and then like maybe next turn we do Ironheart Silver Surfer. Okay. This is
He's saying I'm going to top
interesting.
deck. He's saying I'm top decking Flip Mystique. I think that's what Moyen's saying
Flip
right now. And then we're going to
Mystique?
go Iron Man Mystique.
What would
on
that
turn
do?
6. Iron Man Mystique.
Oh,
on
for the
turn
Iron
6
Man?
is
You
probably
think he just
pretty,
I don't
probably
even know
pretty
if that'll
good, right?
matter. He's just got to win one of these other 2 lanes, right? Oh my god.
Ooh.
All right, cool. Well, sometimes you just get them. I don't know if that's what he was thinking, but he's got
sure?
what,
He
14
sure has
and
it.
18. Those are numbers.
I really hope D-Money's tucking tail, man.
Oh, he's just doubling on the dream dimension because he doesn't want to run the risk of getting Cerebroed out of the game because he thinks I'm always winning the flooded location. I mean, sure, yeah.
I really hope D-Money just tucks his tail, man. You gotta do it here. I don't think that going up against a Mr. Negative on 3, the worst thing that you can do in these battle modes against a Feast or Famine deck like this is let them get 4 cubes when they get their perfect line.
Oh, and I think D-Money might be about to let them get 4 cubes when they got their perfect line.
I don't know what the play is here. You know, what are we aiming to say that we're gonna do against this deck? You know, we're always losing left. We're adding 12 power right against the Mr. Negative deck that played negative on 3. That's tough. I mean, he won a lane, but
Interesting note here is no matter where Moyen split those Iron Man Mystiques, he was going to win.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just an insane power push, right? Absolutely insane power push there, right?
Yeah.
That's tough. I mean, I think that D-Money, maybe he'll take that as a learning opportunity for the rest of the games, just to know that, you know, if we're getting that Mr. Negative out early, we have to protect our cubes. That's really, really tough to see.
We got the Snow Guard in full effect, and does it turn off the Dream Dimension? Or if you play it on 4, it'll turn it off, right?
I'm gonna be.
If he rolls it correctly, does it double? Like, Snow Guard is so new. I can't wait to see how she interacts with all of this stuff. But this is super bad for D-Money. Again, right? Bast into Brood and Mr. Negative is like exactly what you don't want to see.
Okay.
Sanctum Sanctorum can be turned off by the Snow Guard.
Can Moyen get there, though? If you're looking at the deck list, if Moyen can't get there, D-Money could just say, if I get Mr. Negative, or if I get Mr. Fantastic, I'm winning Sanctum.
Could just sit on the Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, he could go Goose. He could go. He could.
That's
he
a
could
snap
slam down
from
a storm.
D-Money.
Yeah.
Moyen's hand is really good, and I think he knows about the Mr. Fantastic. He's willing to run the risk because his hand is so ridiculous. Gross!
Oh my gosh, dude! Double.
That's a
Wakandan
Cerebro deck!
Double
We're Cerebro
Wakandan
4 now.
Embassies. Double Wakandan Embassies against the Cerebro deck. What a absolute nightmare for D-Money.
So the Storm is really good here. The Storm is really,
This is
really
huge.
strong here.
If he can get enough power to win right, he can just win the game with no chance for Moyen to stop him. It's
But
all
he
going to be. I
doesn't
think
seem to have the Mr. Fantastic yet.
he doesn't.
He's filling
but
up that flooded location, and now suddenly there's just going to be no cards able to be played basically the rest of the game.
I think no matter what, Moyen's going to have to respect it, right? Because
Well, here's the thing. Can't Moyen just play an Absorbing Man on the Brood?
If he plays Absorbing Man right, yeah, he gets. I mean, he adds.
Yeah, isn't it
50,000.
just like a bunch of points? And if D-Money doesn't draw his cards right, like, is that... And then we just go, like, Wolf's Bane on the Dream Dimension at some point? Or put an Iron Man there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
Moyen
he needs
sees
exactly. He needs exactly Cerebro, but is Cerebro even going to be enough? He's going to get to 16. He's going to be at.
The
Cerebro
Goose
will be
isn't going
enough.
to work. It's going to be
Cerebro will
a
enough.
tiebreaker game if he doesn't draw Mr. Fantastic.
He needs tiebreaker, and he needs either Cerebro or Blue Marvel. Either Cerebro or Blue Marvel will win him with the Mr. Sinister. Oh, he's snapping
Moyen
back!
is snapping back? Oh my god.
If I'm D-Money, I'm going. I think I'm going for this. I think he likes his gameplay. It does suck to not have the exact cards that you're looking for. I love the Absorbing Man Brood combo. It's a great play.
That is crazy. Like, we are very much in tiebreaker mode here, right?
We need to see
If D-Money can't get into the middle,
Yeah, we need to see Mr. Fantastic, Cerebro, or Blue Marvel here. Blue Marvel. That's the first step, but he can't play them both on the same
can't
turn.
play him!
He needed it. Oh, he needed it a little bit later.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, you can see it in D-Money's face. Disaster.
Okay, so now how does he win?
I don't know if there's an out. Maybe he
Oh
just
my
slams
gosh.
down Luke Cage here.
I think there has to be a way to win here, though, right? Because, like, okay, we're looking at potentially a tiebreaker. So how do we get it as close as possible and leave us the out to draw Mr. Fantastic?
What
Is that doable?
What does Snowguard do here?
As
is the-
Hawk, I
what is
believe
the
it
version?
doubles.
Okay, so
All right,
if
one
I'm
of them
him,
doubles,
I'm playing,
one of them doubles, one of them does not.
I think we're looking at Snowguard into just hoping that we top deck the Cerebro, going Cerebro Mystique. Each
That
of
might
those
be
is
the
8
one that
power.
turns it off, actually, thinking about it. All right, so what's happening here? If we can't do... Okay, so that's happening. There's a Silver Surfer, and those Broodlings get a buff. He has the Mr. Fantastic now, but that might not be enough. It's a question of, do we play the Silver Surfer or do we play the Wolfsbane? It's got to be the Silver Surfer, and I think the Silver Surfer takes it home for Moyen. They cost 3. He's checking. Like, that's...
I think he's got a scoop here,
That's-
man.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I did. Actually, I hadn't really considered the Silver Surfer. It's a huge card in this matchup. Like, just crushing for especially having the Broodlings over on the right. I mean, you gotta be upset for D-Money here. I mean, facing Wakandan Embassy twice as a Cerebro deck back to back.
Well, I think the worry
Nearly
for Moyen
impossible.
here is the worry for Moyen in that situation was very specifically Cerebro Mr. Fantastic. That exact combination of cards beat him there.
So Cerebro gives him +6 right, whereas the Silver Surfer only gets.
Oh wait, no, it
+4
wouldn't
right.
even beat him right
Yeah, I
because
don't
the Silver
think
Surfer gives +4. It only gives +6 because of the Wakandan Embassy instead of giving the +8 that I was counting it as. And once again, Moyen has Mr. Negative and Bast. He's really, I feel like I could feel him contemplating just making him snap to play the game. Like snapping on turn 1 just to make him play the game. There's a Stark Tower here for D-Money. God, Cerebro, dude. Oh, this is...
I always snap, no matter what. If I'm up 8-2 or if I'm up 10-2, I'm snapping turn 1 every single game. I'm making you pay to play. I'm making you beat me 5 times in a row.
Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate
I mean,
that.
I'm gonna. I don't care. I'm gonna do it.
Plunder Castle screws over both of them equally, except it doesn't because D-Money owns Mr. Fantastic. Once again, the Mr. Fantastic looking clutch here.
He has to find another lane to win, though. Was that D-Money who snapped?
That was D-Money snapping and Moyen leaving.
Look at D-Money popping off. Love it. Love to see it. I think Moyen just thought the same thing. He said, hey, we're kind of in the same situation where Punter
Yeah, I don't think I'm winning those most of the time. I'm good.
I don't know, man. I'm taking that, though. Like,
I just realized there's a rogue in
mold.
here, so if D-Money does rely on Mr. Fantastic, it ends up in a really awkward spot.
Yeah. The rogue is definitely a key card for Moyen. I think it's going to be one of the hardest ones for him to get around. The D-Money hype was absolutely insane. I loved it. I'm a huge
Zabu,
fan.
but no Mr. Negative. We're looking at the famine part of Moyen's list right now, I think. But the interesting bit is he might actually be good at winning this Asgard compared to a Cerebro deck.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, right? I mean, there's no cards in his hand that do it right now, right? None of his cards generate any power, but any card that he draws outside of these, snapping is a...
Oh, D-Money out of here. D-Money, I talked to him about this. He regards those as effectively free retreats because you're about to go into a situation where every game is worth 2 cubes anyway. If your opponent snaps, he will take that free retreat. He's a big free retreat believer there. And that's a functionally free retreat. It didn't matter. He's going to play for 2 cubes anyway. All the stakes are the same.
So what are we looking at here now? So we have just, at absolute max, we're going to be looking at 6 total games. D-Money has to win 5.
If D-Money wins them all, right?
5 total games. D-Money has to win 5 in a row.
D-Money has to 5.
And he lost and D-Money's done. We have no retreats. Playing through every single game.
Yes. As Marvel Snap was meant to be played, I'll have you know.
D-Money did not like Zabu on 2.
Ooh, the squirrels are super awkward with the brood.
Makes it hard to want to put a brood down here. Maybe you're just trying to brood middle, and then just leave that for the rest of the time. He has Sinister and Brood both in hand.
You can't
both
order that properly
really
because if you want to brood at the end, we don't have any cheap things to play before it, right? And you can't brood at the end unless you want to not Silver Surfer it.
I think this Goose placement this turn is going to be very important. I think Goose can cause some problems, but I mean, I guess it depends if the Mr. Negative comes down.
I'm honestly just hoping for a Snow Guard to be played at some point. So far, Snow Guard has not been played at any point.
He was a little bit psycho bringing this card. I don't know if he was so excited to show off the Snow Guard and it's just been rotting in his hand every single game.
Double Wolfsbane here is 9.
What if he just is he gonna Snow Guard Central Park and just flood squirrels everywhere?
That's extremely funny.
That is very bold. That's a very bold strategy.
Snow Guard Central Park, flood squirrels everywhere, play Blue Marvel, top deck Mystique. Got him.
He doesn't have enough space. If he does that,
we're going for it. Does this work the way we want it to? Is this the one that turns them on or turns them off?
I have no idea. I don't know what this card does, dude. Why does he have Snow Gun?
All right, let's find out. I'm sure we're taking a pillorying in chat.
I don't know, man.
All right, Snow Guard. It's the one that turns them on! Oh god, but that buffs the Wolfsbane, and now he has this Absorbing Man on the Wolfsbane, but he can't play it on the Wolfsbane because he needs to play stuff into Morag.
Oh my gosh, what a psycho, dude.
Where's D-Money gonna play a card?
What's his plan here? I guess you can go pass into Cerebro Mr. Sinister?
I think what Moyen does is pass into Absorbing Man Brood. He's gonna Absorbing Man the Wolfsbane on the Central Park.
Is that gonna win? So Absorbing Man...
Cerebro Mystique! Is that gonna win? No. Oh god.
No, it's gonna use middle.
God.
I think Cerebro Mr. Sinister is the play. But what does that put you to? You're always losing left. If he Absorbing Man's right, I think this beats it because we're adding 6 right.
It beats the Absorbing Man right because the Absorbing Man
and it beats the Brood. Is he gonna win?
I think he's gonna win on this.
Was that the best Snow Guard play in history?
Was this the only elite Snow Guard play of all time? I think this gets there.
What is going on, dude? He's gonna
Is this
win
when we
right
tell
by
everyone
one.
it was
He's gonna win-
sponsored by Second Dinner and we had to include all these 6,000 token cards and make them look cool? Is that?
He's gonna win right by one, and he's gonna win middle. Oh my gosh! By
Is
a
this
single
actually
point, he's gonna win
Scorpion
right.
Diff? Is this Scorpion
Scorpion
right
Diff,
here?
baby. What an absolute maniac! The best Snow Guard play in history. World's
The
first.
only Snow Guard play in
Oh
history.
my gosh. What a legend, dude. We were just talking garbage about Snow Guard. People in chat were saying, what if Snow Guard was literally just any other card? And Snow Guard came to play, baby.
Okay, but also, what if Snow Guard was literally any other card?
What if it was an Iceman, dude? Or
Yeah, like, what if that was Iceman? Is that...
Oh, man. He said snap.
Snap.
Dude, that's the legendary Snow Guard play.
We have Zabu Mr. Negative here, but the Iron Man... Oh! Discarding Iron Man's actually good.
He lost his Cerebro, dude. He lost his Cerebro.
Life is RNG, and D-Money is on the bad side of life right now.
What an absolute travesty. two Wakandan embassies. Two Wakandan embassies and a Sokovia on a win or lose.
We're going on a real clinic here on why it's tough to play Cerebro.
Oh, dude.
We're getting an object lesson in, boy, Cerebro and locations. Oh, look, Necrotia. That's good for Cerebro, right? It's a good thing we discarded Cerebro. It wouldn't even have been useful on that location.
We got the Luke Cage at least, but it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Doesn't matter. Luke Cage is going to help him win Necrotia.
I think
Maybe.
he might. Like, he has, like, a reasonable... Like, this looks like good cards. It's just like, when you look at the cards in his hand, it's a 2-1 and a 3-0.
I think this is gonna hinge on him pulling a blue marble by turn 5.
It's
that gives
also
him a
going to
shot.
hinge on Moyen drawing absolutely nothing, I think.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. And I mean,
Hey, that's
that
actually,
is
that's
nothing.
not nothing. That sucks.
That's a pretty
That's
nothing
not
card.
nothing. Like, in the context of this game, unfortunately, that's a little bit more than nothing.
Goosey gonna come down left with the Silver Surfer down. It's gonna deny that from going down over on the left, but looks like that's kind of the only card it's gonna deny the rest of the game. Never mind. We're changing things up. I think you have to play the Luke Cage and the Goose out this turn, and then just praise for Blue Marvel is really your only chance at winning this game. I mean, going against Zabu Mr. Negative without your key card in Cerebro, slim to none.
I mean, to
chances
be
win
fair,
anyway,
like, it's
but-
not like the Mr. Negative deck has a ton of power left in it. It's just, you know...
Doesn't it, though?
Like, now Moyen can't play that Silver Surfer. If he plays that Wolfsbane out, he can't play that Silver Surfer anywhere but Necrotia. That matters.
He can play it on Sokovia. Or is he
I
trying
feel
to
like he's
play
supposed to go like
Bast,
Bast
Wolfsbane middle?
and Wolfsbane in Baxter Building just straight up, because just get 3s in there. But at the very least, he's... Like, if he's going to play the Wolfsbane, I think Bast, it has to go in the Baxter. I get
Yeah.
holding it for,
He
like,
just
more
plays
points.
the Bast.
Yeah, that's also
Interesting
fine, right?
choice.
Because it's actually the same. It's just a
Is
question
it?
of your mana efficiency.
I don't.
Oh, we're done here. My bad. I thought this was going to be a game. There's a Brood and then a Silver Surfer. Like,
All going
I
left,
don't...
Yeah, adding 15
I don't know if
power
we
left
beat that.
in
We can even
Baxter
do
Building.
Brood, Wolfsbane, and then a Silver Surfer. I guess maybe we're not done here. There is a Luke Cage thing here. Hold on.
We had no
have
Blue
thoughts
Marvel,
to
though.
make.
No Blue Marvel, I think, is
No Blue
the
Marvel.
crushing thing. Like that, he
But, like,
really needed something to buff up his board state.
I'm sort of thinking it's just Brood on the Baxter Building, and then Wolfsbane the Sokovia. But it's possible if Moyen commits too much by putting the Wolfsbane in there as in the Baxter as well.
This is why
Which I don't know if he's gonna do. If Moyen makes,
Wolfsbane out early.
I don't know. I think saving the Wolfsbane makes some sense here, especially in the context of, like, think of all the cards we could draw out of our deck. Most of them are not going to prevent us from playing things. As long as that Wolfsbane goes middle, I think he's probably going to win. But he has to weigh how much he wants to commit, because he's only getting the Silver Surfer buff. But he knows there's no Cerebro, which is the main thing that makes this play safe. The Brood here, and then he's going to Silver Surfer it, and it's kind of out of reach for D-Money from here.
Snow Guard, though.
It doesn't
Have we
work the way you
considered-
want.
Have we considered Snow Guard? It turns off Baxter Building.
It turns off Baxter Building, but then when the game it only turns it off during the turn. So then when the game ends, it'll be back on, and then we'll lose, I think.
Yeah, I think that this is kind of curtains. Maybe you can get double Luke Cage though. Does I don't know, is that good? Double Luke
For
Cage?
sure. Yeah, that'll do it.
So, you know, there's that, or whatever. Even
Double
gets
Luke
the-
Cage, let's go, baby!
Double Luke
Let's
Cage!
go!
Good. D-Money accepting his defeat. Moyen still
D-Money waving
stressing.
goodbye. Oh man,
That's tough, man. I mean, I
that
really think
the face he just made is the face when you play Cerebro.
so true.
That's how it goes. Like, you play Cerebro and you get 2 Wakandan embassies and you're like, oh boy, I can't believe I did this.
I really think what we were missing, what really went wrong is just losing that 4 cubes in the first game. I think that D-Money just put himself
He got a
into
little
a hole
aggressive with
there
it, yeah.
that is really, really hard to get through in any of these situations. But hey, shout-outs to Moyen. Wonderful game. Wonderful game. Very well played. Very well very well piloted.
Performance. So we are back 1-1. I told you we were running it back, Biggs. I told you couldn't climb every mountain. There are some mountains that you cannot climb, and this is one of them.
Well, hey man, 1-1, baby. I'm just excited, dude. I think a lot of us are just happy to be here. We're just happy to be here, happy to be swinging. Moyen played a wonderful game. I think that RNG was absolutely on your side. I also think that was probably, the first matchup was probably pretty skewed towards Loopy Fist. I think that matchup was a bit skewed towards Moyen just from a deck versus deck perspective. But really fun play, really good times, and we got to see the best Snowguard play of all time. So
yeah, those are the only cubes I've ever seen a Snowguard win. So you saw it here first on the Snap Battles Danger Room, brought to you by Untapped.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks so much. We're gonna go into a quick break. I'm wrapping up match number 2. It's 1-1 in Team Binks versus Team KM Best. Let's see what happens here on match 3. We'll see you in a little bit.
Are you ready to reach infinite in Marvel Snap? Well, you need to make sure you're playing the best deck. Find all the top Marvel Snap decks on snap.untapped.gg. Discover the best decks for your rank and collection level based on the average cubes each deck earns and win rate. You can even see real-time stats about what's performing well for the current hot location. Discover the decks that you can build with your current card collection and import the deck directly into Marvel Snap so you can get into the game. While you're playing, use the Untapped.gg deck tracker to keep track of the cards in your and your opponent's deck, as well as what's been discarded or destroyed. Untapped.gg is your all-in-one destination for decks and stats so that you can conquer the meta. Get started by downloading the Snap Deck Tracker today at snap.untapped.gg.
This is my great day. Not only does Spider-Man fall into my clutches, but my greatest invention is ready. Don't expect applause.
I love watching Cleanup 141 in order to improve my Marvel Snap gameplay.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jay Hugs, the #1 Marvel Snapper in the state of Texas. Check me out on YouTube at JHugsPlays or catch me live on Twitch at twitch.tv/JHugs. See you there.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Danger Room, powered by Untapped.gg. Team Binks versus Team KM Best. We've had two awesome matches so far, and we are deadlocked 1-1 going into match number 3. So this is going to be kind of like the winners of our teams going against each other, and whoever's going to get an advantage going in here. On my side, we have Alexander Casilla, representing Team Binks. He has a Control Surfer Patriot style list, a really interesting list with a lot of cool little options. We got the Goose in there. We have the Juggernaut, which is what I think is going to be a huge play against a Lammy series deck here. We have the Blue Marvel to kind of keep everything nice and big, and then the absolute powerhouse in Dr. Doom. Super excited. We were working through a lot of decks together. We did a little bit of content together this week. And he's really excited about this deck. He feels really confident with it. It's a deck that can sometimes have some trouble with draw, but overall, there's just a lot of things you have to account for from a power perspective and can really surprise the opponents.
Yeah, I specifically want to highlight the Goose in the context of what Lamby Series is doing, and Lamby Series has brought a deck with a ton of enormous cards in it. What I sort of think of this deck as is he's playing Thanos-less Thanos. He was like, all right, Thanos is banned, but I'm just going to play all the cards that are good in Thanos, and then I'm going to get it done. One interesting note here, he has a Killmonger in his list. Alex has no 1-drops. Very interesting in terms of the matchup that he pulled here. That Killmonger is going to do almost nothing. That Death is going to do even less than nothing in this matchup.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, I mean, the Killmonger with absolutely nothing to kill, right? That Death is going to be sitting in the hand unless it pops out from Lockjaw. He has no other small cards other than the Wasp to feed into that Lockjaw. So I think that it's going to be, I don't know. I think it's really interesting. You know, without all of those stones that you can power through Lockjaw, how is he going to get everything if he doesn't get his perfect line of Jane Foster playing those 0-drops? And if that does happen, how is he going to deal with the turn 6 Jug knocking those 0-cost cards out of the Lockjaw? It's going to be a pretty tough matchup, and I think that there's going to be a lot of really smart counterplay back and forth. I think that Alex is definitely much more on the casual side. Lamby, I've seen some of his stuff. He is he's a genius at Marvel Snap is what I will say about him. Same thing with just about everyone on your team. But I'm really excited to see how this turns out. I think that Alex maybe, you know, he's going to pack some surprises, but we'll see if Lamby can power through and pilot this deck as well as I'm sure he thinks he can.
I think that deck-to-deck matchup here, I would say I think Alex might be a little bit favored just based on the Killmonger being dead and the Death being dead. But any game in which Lockjaw shows up, I'm not sure Alex can win. Unless he like specifically nails having priority and preventing the Lockjaw from getting there with the Juggernaut, I think it's very difficult for him to beat a couple of big units coming out of Lamby here. I think if you roll into like Magneto Death or really any of the top end in this lane, if you pull it out there, I think it's going to come down to Snap Discipline. I think it's going to be when Lamby has what he has, he needs to maximize the potential gains from his high roll. And in an average game, I think the Goose will cause him a lot of problems. And we will have to see how that ends up playing out, because I think we're about to jump into this game. Currently deadlocked 1-1. Let's check it out. We are looking at Alex's perspective here. Lamby does have the Lockjaw, but nothing to fuel it.
Does have the Lockjaw in hand? Yeah, I mean, he really has very few cards in his deck to fuel it. I think that Killmonger is pretty much just going to be Lockjaw food this entire time. I really don't know what else. I mean, obviously the Lockjaw into Jubilee is going to be a really strong play. I'm imagining that's what we're going to see come out here on turn 3. Alex didn't draw any of his 2-drops. It looks like we're going to go pass. And
Lamby with a snap here because he's looking at Lockjaw into Jubilee into Jane Foster, throw a Wasp in the Lockjaw lane, play Magneto.
I mean, he has a pretty straightforward line, right? I mean, he does have some really low rolls still within the deck. Let's see if he gets some of these small cards. Doom, another card that you would have loved to get out of the Lockjaw lane. It's going to be tough. Let's see if Alex ends up getting priority here, and if he does get priority, is he going to be? Is he just going to confidently throw out that Juggernaut and say, "Get out of here"?
I don't even know if he wants to Jubilee in the Lockjaw lane.
Interesting.
I like as long as the issue he's running into is he really does not want to pull Wasp. That is the thing he wants to avoid doing. He would like to play Wasp. That's the best draw he has here. Killmonger, interesting. So like the fact that there is a Wasp here, I guess he's just going to rip it and just hope that he does not pull the Wasp, because like a pull Wasp for Lambie is a very bad thing. The Jubilee could fill it up. The Juggernaut won't do enough.
It won't do anything if he plays it there.
Yeah, it won't do anything because the thing will be flipped. So
the Storm, I
coming
think a
down,
smart play, gonna completely
rolls
turn
on
off
the
that Jane
Lockjaw.
Foster.
Chavez is one. Thor is the other, and now the Jane gets two things.
Neither of them can go down the Lockjaw lane though, but it might not
But
matter.
he can play,
I mean,
but like
and he can
just
pull things
having
off in New York.
units. There's a Wasp here. Oh my god, he plays the Wasp and then the Jane. This is brutal.
This is brutal. I think that was a good snap from Lambie. He definitely got some pretty darn good pulls. My man has an inkified Frog Thor.
Yes.
What a what a legend.
He inkified every card he's ever played in Thanos. So you can really get a sense for that here. You can see what wait, the ordering here. He's not going to flush the Wasp away first?
He must.
Okay, he is going to flush the Wasp away first. There we go.
What's the play here from Alex? I think we have a 2-drop, 3-drop situation. Debris and the Shocker. Juggernaut, again, not really going to do anything. I like the Debris just slamming it down middle. I think that that's totally fine, limiting some different options. And you need him to be scared that if he ends up playing that Silver Surfer at the end, maybe we have enough points to get over the top, because that Cyclops is going to be 6.
The awkward
just depends on what
thing
comes out.
about Storm and Juggernaut here is that Juggernaut can then send stuff. Okay, Mjolnir's like the worst possible pull in the deck,
Absolutely.
and it's still very powerful. Like, that's the worst possible pull, and it was 6 points. So if we're looking at a Silver Surfer here, it's not going to get there.
So the Lockjaw can move, and the Wasp can. I'm almost thinking if I was Lambie, I'm thinking that we go.
Alex is just out of here.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Lockjaw right into like Wasp Doom, both of which into Lockjaw would be a really nasty way to just kind of like sure the game up. Maybe you're putting it into a little bit too much, but the Magento is also just a nasty way that you can deal with things.
I think you probably end up lockjawing the Wasp, but not lockjawing your 6-drop, based on what was still in the deck. We'd have to look and see what was still in the deck, though.
Very true, very true. Which you can while
we
playing.
actually have things for
untapped
Killmonger to
GG.
kill this game. Killmonger gets to kill stuff this game.
Which can be important. Lambie does have a wave in the deck, so even just a Killmonger here knocking these two off can activate his Death Wave synergy.
Now, whether or not that all gets played, I mean, I think the interesting thing here for Lambie is there's a ton of early game in his hand. Ooh, Quantum Realm, very good for Alex, but if Lambie can get a Lockjaw there, it is just absolutely berserk. The issue is he doesn't seem very likely to get that Lockjaw. A Jubilee pull to there could also be good, but how much is he willing to junk up his Jubilee pulls by playing Thor?
He's just going to bump the Patriot up. I think Alex might be playing this Patriot a little bit too early in these games. I think that especially with some of his disruptive type cards, having priority is very nice. But I think that he looks at Quantum Realm and he's pretty excited about it as well, because he has things that can bump those cards up in Blue Marvel, in Silver Surfer, lots of ways to pump up that Quantum Realm. But is it going to be enough to beat the Jubilee? I don't know.
Magneto is very interesting here, given what it can and can't do in this matchup. Magneto pulling that the Patriot may not do much there. I don't know. This is a very awkward spot for Lambie. I don't think this is sort of where like we look at like an average game, right? He didn't draw Lockjaw. He's obviously not snapping, right? And so he has to be a little bit skittish here.
He does have the Jane Foster on 5, knowing that he has that Thor already down, so he can
That's a
guarantee
snap from
that
Alex.
access. I believe that was actually Lambie. I think it's an opponent's snap.
Oh no, that's a snap from Lambie. Wow,
That is a
he's
snap from
really
Lambie.
going for it. That is. Because I think, okay, so the way this could work for him is he has Odin and Thor, right? So he's confident that he can win that Quantum Realm regardless. The issue is if he pulls
The Mjolnir here, maybe?
Thor, the Mjolnir here, it's very bad.
Chavez again.
Chavez, on the other hand, very good. Okay.
Interesting choice here. So, Alex can just play a goose. That is such a low tempo play. It's gotta feel bad. I cannot imagine that's the correct play, right? Maybe trying to prevent something like the Magneto coming down, but I think that you just have to try and get some level of power output here.
I actually kind of think the goose is kind of slick here. It's very hard for Lambie to win the middle.
Interesting. So he's
Like
kind of saying the goose
like
is good.
playing the goose here basically says you can't win the Shadowland. Like, what are you going to put in there? What are you going to play into that Shadowland that's going to win the game?
Lockjaw,
I guess you'd be thinking about
Mjolnir?
like Doctor Doom, which
I also-
Lambie is live to draw, but Alex is too.
I also missed Dream Dimension Jane Foster interaction. That's
Yes.
pretty huge. Something that I
Yes.
overlooked for not being able to guarantee that Mjolnir. So the Quantum Realm is still a fight. Quantum Realm is absolutely still a fight here. Skillmonger coming down.
Killmonger comes out here, but now at this point, I don't think Lambie can put anything into the Shadowland. It's. I don't know how he's supposed to win this game. Is sort of where my head is at.
Yeah, all he can really do is try and slam down the Magneto, but is the Magneto even going to win middle? I can't imagine
No.
that it does. Like we could see
This
a
is why the goose is
Cyclops
good, right?
Surfer
Like the
coming.
goose here,
I think you're right.
basically won him the game. I think.
I think that my assessment was wrong and that yours was totally right. And actually, Alex just pulled that play back. I kind of like the debris play. The debris is, what are we looking at? 7 power there from the 2
Yeah.
rocks that are coming over.
I think he's gonna win anyway. I wonder if Lambie just might have missed the Jane Foster, the fact that he wasn't going to be
Yeah.
able to play it off the Dream Dimension. I'm not sure.
I think that you're totally right on this goose play. The more I'm looking at this and thinking about his deck, if the big thing would be, let's say he had Lockjaw be able to get pulled there, right? Like if Lockjaw came down on Shadowlands and we played like Lockjaw, Wasp, Wave or something like that, all left. These some problems. Good job, Alex, playing a great game. That goose just shut down Lambie. He had no way of finishing out that game in a
Yeah,
way
because
where
like
he felt
off a Dream
comfortable.
Dimension, like it turns off. This is what I talked about in the opening segment, which is like Lambie just doesn't have cards that go there.
Yeah.
One interesting thing is in that game, if he had played Wave, he actually would have been able to play a Death into that lane off the two things that died to the Killmonger.
Very true, very true. Wave did not come into his hand until turn 6, unfortunately. One of the very few chances he's going to have to do that Death Wave interaction, and the wave just came a turn too late. I'm loving Goose and Miniaturized Lab here. Mirror Dimension Miniaturized Lab is horrifying as well, because it could just be on turns 4 and 5. The only place you can play is right, which is not a great feeling. I don't even think the Juggernaut will work because the Miniaturized Lab just completely
It does
locks in
not. It
location.
does not. It will not do anything. If there are 2 mini labs, the Juggernaut will do absolutely nothing.
He's thinking about he skips.
Think about playing nothing. He wants to know where he has to go.
Interesting. Very interesting. I think that I'm always a fan of getting ahead on
Oh,
Miniaturized
I
Lab.
just realized something.
What's that?
So Lambie could do Wave, Doom, and then Odin later, right? Mm-hmm. But the issue is, if that mirror dimension turns into either of these locations, it's actually really bad, right? Because if it turns into the mini lab, the Doom does absolutely nothing the first time it comes down, and if it turns into the Shuri's lab, Alex can try to go bigger than the Doom.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to really try and go down that line, right? I mean, there's nothing else you can do. Maybe just waves into
I
death.
think that is actually the line that you go down. You
I
just
would
gotta
wave
figure
into
out-
I would wave into death because the Doom's only getting you 10 power.
Yeah, we could wave
here.
into death.
I personally
So
much
it's a
prefer to wave
Shuri's
into
lab.
death, I
That's
think.
better than the mini lab. Oh, suddenly things are really interesting because then the turn after we're looking at like a Lockjaw Wasp. So yeah, we do the Doom here on one of the labs, and then an Odin on turn 6, and then Lockjaw Wasp off of it, and just say we're gonna put an arbitrarily large amount of power down. Good luck.
Is Lockjaw Wasp even good though with Shuri's lab?
I think the real question is,
Oh,
can
geez,
Alex
he's gonna rip
guess
this
which
Cosmo.
one he's going to?
Oh, this Cosmo on whatever's coming down is gonna be really nasty. Did he pass? Or no, he played the death. I kind of like the death play
Yeah,
better.
he ended up playing the death. So
I
there's
kinda
no
like Giant
Cosmo for
card.
the Doom thing. The death is if Alex plays the Cosmo here, he will have galactic brained himself a little bit.
I think it's still kind of fine. I mean, you're looking at Shuri's Lab like, how the hell am I winning there? Which is pretty fair.
Yeah.
You could maybe look at sneaking.
What if it's just literally Thor into like Jane Foster into Magneto? Isn't that just like really hard to beat?
Big
like,
stats
or just
good.
Jane Foster into Doctor Doom.
Yeah, big stats are good, man. Big stats are good. Maybe
Like Jane
I think with the
Foster-
Cosmo left, I think you want a Goose right, but I don't think it matters, right? Because they can just play it on a miniaturized lab.
Lambie's snapping. He's feeling confident here. He doesn't think Alex can output the power to match him.
I think he's
I'm
right.
not sure he's wrong.
I think he is right here. I mean, we could maybe look at like what could potentially be here, like Shocker, Patriot. Like Alex's deck is not meant to take advantage of Shuri's Lab. That's for darn sure. I think Alex just takes the L here, runs away with the cube. I think that 24 power death, you're looking at that like there's nothing I could do to overtake this. So we just gotta be smart with our cubes. And just like you said, well, the key thing that we're looking for in this match is snapping properly and retreating properly to not sacrifice cubes. And I think both players have done very well so far in that.
I think Lambie messed up snapping in the second game, to be honest with you. But that is just the kind of thing that happens. I think that the Dream Dimension meant that our plan that game just wasn't really going to work. What is Alex getting out of this?
A Thor,
Thor.
a 3-drop card. What a wonderful
it's a
card
3
to add
cost.
into your hand. Did he get a Jubilee? What did he get?
He got Blue Marvel.
He got Blue Marvel. Oh, okay. Wait, it's Daily Bugle, not the hub.
Subterranea Jubilee Lockjaw.
Snap, 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 snap. I'm snapping immediately if I know that I'm facing a Lockjaw Jubilee deck. Ooh. I mean, either way, he's probably getting one cube. Because if I'm Lambie and I see a snap come down, I'm done.
The Nexus is like exactly why you don't snap that. The Nexus is the location that Lambie basically cannot lose if he wants to win it. So it's going to be a question of
I disagree. I think that there's Juggernaut in Alex's deck.
There's Juggernaut if he's
Groom.
relying on a turn 6. But if he's not relying on a turn 6, it's kind of over.
I think there's a Goose in his deck.
The Goose is what he needs.
Because he can't.
Goose
he
is
can't
how he
think.
wins it.
He can't think that winning the Nexus is going to be. I play Jubilee. I play Lockjaw there. I get big cards because rocks are going to come flying out
No,
of that
that's
Lockjaw.
definitely not what he's thinking. But like, just the size of the cards in the deck means the Nexus is going to favor Lambie.
But they're all 6-cost cards.
One of them's 5, and it's in his hand right now.
Also, Alex has a Storm in the deck.
Oh, Goose is here! Goose is the most important thing that happened here. Goose showing up is such a huge deal.
And
if he can get it
Lambie
to
drew
work.
Wasp and Mjolnir.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's bad.
He
it kind of
probably
is,
wants
'cause
to
you're gonna
slam
play
the
the
Jane
chain.
Foster on 5, right?
But it's also just like, there's a lot of awkward stuff that happens here. I almost wonder if we're going Wave into Odin here. We go Wave, play the Wasp and the Mjolnir, then play Odin the next turn and just say, my units are bigger than yours.
He's not going with the Goose here. I think that the Goose here to stop the Jane Foster on Nexus is so important.
I really am. I am sincerely tempted to take this Wave line here. Yeah. I think if we take the Wave line, though, I would have wanted to... I guess we don't... I would have wanted to play the Wasp and the Mjolnir with the Wave, right? Because if we do the Wave into Odin... Because now we don't have the ability to do the Odin thing without turning off our own Wasp and Mjolnir. And we would have had priority here, and instead of having priority, we're vulnerable to a Juggernaut.
And a Cosmo. Juggernaut, you're
And a
vulnerable
Cosmo,
to a Cosmo.
yeah.
Lots
The
of problems.
interesting bit,
can come
though,
from free.
is I think he wants to save the Odin so he can go Mjolnir Odin. And so for that reason, I wonder if he's thinking, I don't want to telegraph what's going on here.
Interesting.
That's sort of what I was thinking, where it was like, what Lambie should have done here is played Wave Mjolnir in the middle, then Odin that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
After snapping, right? You snap, play Wave Mjolnir, and then Odin that. And it's just very hard for Alex's deck to keep up with that. The issue is, Storm, right? But if you're playing a bunch of big stuff in the middle, things are going to go pretty well for you.
Let's see. He's letting it ride on the Juggernaut, right? Let's see. I didn't actually see what Lambie's play is. It's not going to go into the Nexus, baby. Where are we landing? Okay, big plays there with the Jane Foster. Now he knows
Here's the
that he
thing,
has to
though.
respect
It's
this
still
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir Odin.
who is a Cosmo on this deck.
We still... Yeah, he has to guess where that goes, though. He doesn't have to put it on the Nexus. That's the problem.
I'm excited, man. I'm thinking
This
if
is
I'm Alex,
crazy.
I'm playing Cosmo
Okay, here's
right,
the question. You think
Silver
about
Surfer
Mjolnir
left.
Odin. That takes him to 16, right? So if we play a Silver Surfer in the Nexus and then a Cosmo on the Daily Bugle, I think we end up losing if he puts the Odin and the Mjolnir in the Nexus, right? So we're Cosmoing and then Surfering off of it. Does this line beat Odin Mjolniring outside of it?
Let's see here.
'Cause I think it does.
We're adding 3, so we're going to get to 13. Then we're going to add 6 more. We're going to get up to 19, right? And then we're adding 12, which only gets him up to 16 over on the right. So he's...
Yeah.
Oh, baby! Oh, he's playing it right! He's playing
Yeah.
it right! He's going to get
He has to.
absolute...
Oh my god, Alex.
No, Alex, don't overthink it. Oh, dude, he made such a smart play. He has to know Odin Mjolnir is coming, right? And I think
Alex.
that he... Come on, Alex. Come on, Alex. Trust your gut. Oh,
What was
That's
he
tough,
afraid
man.
of? He was afraid of Magento. He was afraid of Magento and a Mjolnir, which I guess that is something he should have been afraid of. That is true.
Yeah, Magento Mjolnir's tough. Magento Mjolnir's definitely tough.
So the thing that was going on there is I feel like Lambie messed up the wave sequence of events. If he just put the
Yeah.
Mjolnir in there with that, he would have been able to force Alex's hand double wave, which is super bad for Alex and super good for Lambie.
Snap.
Another Subterranea. You said snap last time and Alex lost.
Yeah, but he would have won. He had to believe it. But he
But
would have
Jane Foster getting hit.
He would have won because Lambie would have retreated. Is the thing.
Lambie
I
didn't.
guarantee you Lambie was
you think he
retreating
would've
if
just
he got
left,
snapped on.
okay.
I think it would have left immediately if he got snapped on Subterranean.
Once again, the Goose is here. Goose is a big deal in this matchup. Very, very dangerous card. Lambie about to top deck yet another rock. Oh, baby. Yeah, we're probably leaving this on the 3 rock draw. That's
Lambie not
suboptimal.
loving life right now.
I mean, on
Alex,
the other hand, like if the Jane wasn't 5 cost, I would honestly think about sticking in this one.
I think he's
but-
saying Storm left, Juggernaut left. How is he going to beat me in Subterranean?
Yeah, I think he's just out of here. That's what happens when Subterranea happens and a Goose happens early in this matchup.
Very well
I
done
do think
there by Alex.
The decks favor Alex a little bit. I am not a believer in Lambie's build of Lockjaw. I think it's missing one very important card that was banned.
Baku, yeah.
Oh yeah, good point.
Thanos, I'm guessing, is what it's missing.
Perhaps it might be Thanos.
I think it needs like one drop. You know, he feels so dependent on these 0-cost cards to make Lockjaw.
He has not
work.
drawn a Lockjaw. That's... Whoa. That's a big deal.
Okay. Alex's option. I'm loving Blue Marvel Shocker if I'm Alex. I think the Blue Marvel Shocker is the best use of your energy. The Blue Marvel is this ever looming, just mean. He's saying no. We're not playing over on the right. It's also an interesting choice. You can even you can maybe not even play the Shocker
This
on
is
there and then just
a
follow
little
it up
awkward
with the
because it's
Juggernaut.
gonna get Juggernauted, but the Storm also being vulnerable to Magneto is
Wind, aid my
like the Storm
hand.
and the Juggernaut being vulnerable to Magneto is something we're gonna need to pay attention to this entire game because if he pulls both of those cards, they're leaving. Like if he pulls both of those cards, let's say to a dark dimension, he's gonna lose that lane. So I think the question here is gonna be, can Alex get enough 3s on the board or fill up his stuff such that Magneto does not steal the flooded from him?
I think you're actually mistaking some possibilities that can happen even if both Storm and Juggernaut leave. Patriot Blue Marvel gets Shocker over
Yeah,
the top.
Patriot
to the
Blue
point.
Marvel would do it, but we don't have a
Debris,
Patriot in hand.
Debris can jump over to the right.
Debris could tie it.
Debris and a Blue Marvel will tie it, right? So there's lots of potential options here, and Debris also floods the whole board, makes it very, very hard for that Magneto to guarantee that he's going to get both of these cards.
The debris is going to be pretty critical, but I think most tiebreaker scenarios do end up favoring Lambie just because of the sort of height of his cards, right?
The sheer chunkiness.
Oh, we could do Wave into Magneto here, or just Jubilee. I forgot Jubilee. Ah, classic.
He's shooting him in the
Classic.
face with the
utility of
Cyclops.
Cyclops on full display here.
Absolutely, put him on blast. If I'm Alex, I'm liking the debris here. I think that's a key card to fit in to guarantee a win on that flooded location.
Jubilee is going to pull.
Jane Foster to get the Mjolnir.
Ooh. So I'm thinking we're looking at a Wave here, and then Magneto and Mjolnir on the final turn.
So,
or just put the Mjolnir in there now.
You have to play Mjolnir now, right? If you're waving.
Yeah, we play the Mjolnir now. Yeah. And I think that this is sort of where things get super awkward for Alex because of the Wave. He wants to play 2 cards on the final turn. And we're talking about how this Magento might win the flooded location. It's not going to need to win the flooded location. It's just going to win the other lanes.
Oh my gosh! If this debris goes down properly, he can't play any cards on the last turn. This debris is going to be destructive. This debris is going to destroy Lambie. Holy!
The debris is actually... Oh man, Alex, are you going to do it? Alex, this is it. This is your time.
No! No! Come on, Alex. You gotta believe, man. The debris is so good here. Come on. Come on.
It's going back out. It's there.
Now, can he win, though?
I don't actually know. Can he win with 1 card is like an actual question. I don't know. The answer is yes. He needs to get 10 power in the middle, and I don't think he can.
I do not think he can either.
There is no 1 card in his deck that puts 10 power in the middle.
No. Doctor Doom is a chance.
That doesn't do it, though. Doctor Doom
is
exactly, unfortunately, 5.
Yeah, he needed to play 2 cards here, unfortunately. So, I mean, just kind of
like... He didn't have the ability.
I think that's your best play, but it's so tough to see that come down.
Yeah, I mean, Surfer adds, 6 here? So it goes to 13, 17 to 13. It's just a question of, does Lambie call it here? Because if this is the game, if Lambie clicks end turn here, he will win 6 cubes. And I feel like right now what he's doing is looking at the cards in Alex's deck and thinking, there is not a card that will do it. There is not one single card in this deck that can beat 10 power.
He had end turn. Lambie hit end turn.
He's in.
I think that he has the confidence. I think Alex does have to run. I think that he made the best play that he possibly could, but the Wave just crushes it. Don't do it. Don't do it, Alex.
He clicks end turn. He's shaking his head. I think he knows it's not going to do it.
I mean, he has to know, right? Like it's face up. It's tough. It's tough because you played really well. I mean, you made a really good game that time. I think that maybe playing the debris earlier forces Lambie's hand a little bit. Maybe he can't make that wave play if he sees the debris come down because he knows that he's just out of space. Because I really like the debris ahead of that Cyclops when it was played. But you never know. You never know how these things end up. I think that Alex put in a good game, but it's just tough.
Alex just mashing the snap button. He's like, this is what I was waiting for. This is the exact hand I wanted the whole game with the exact cards I wanted, the exact location I wanted, a cloning VATS.
We just start slamming Patriots left, right? Just get the army going?
I think I kind of wonder about, like, what if we do Patriot Brood? I'm not really 100% though.
Yeah.
That seems like those are big numbers. Question is, I suppose, which one happens first, and how do we use the Bifrost to interact with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's going to fill up one of these lanes, which is bad in the context of Brood.
If he's going Brood first, it means that he's saying, I want priority, which is interesting. It's interesting. I don't know how important priority is going to be in this. Obviously, the Juggernaut can come down at a good time. Multiple Thors is always horrifying because any of those Mjolnirs that get drawn are then multiple. Are we thinking about not playing cloning VATS here so that we can just play maybe even just play another Brood right so that you get your draw and you keep your card draw going? But cloning VATS is your card draw in many ways. It's a hard thing to work around, right?
Yeah, so he is going for the Brood Patriot stuff. Which is, you know, he goes Brood into Patriot, then Brood into Patriot. It ain't... Oh, he's playing Patriot off
like
the
that. I don't like that. I think you play the. I think you just play the second Brood out there. Maybe he's worried about how much it limits his options. Maybe he's just saying, you know, I'm going to find some better cards to play there. Maybe he wants to play Blue Marvel there left. Maybe he just wants 3 Broods.
I feel like if you were worried about it limiting your options, you should have played the Patriot there last turn.
Yeah, I definitely agree there.
I do love his Patriot, though. Also, yeah, the fact that there's now multiple Mjolnirs in here, that's wild. That's a problem. Especially if, like, God forbid he draws, like, a Jane Foster. Okay, Wave, interesting.
Could also be just soul-crushing here. I think he has to...
No, I think actually... I don't think Lambie has a lot of good plays here. Because...
Maybe getting a second Debris isn't too bad, right?
Right, no, it's not just the second Debris. It's the fact that... Look at all the points Alex is putting on the board.
Yeah. Maybe goes Debris Shocker here?
Yeah, like, this is just a lot of points with the Patriot. Debris Goose. I'm not sure how much the Goose matters. The pull here is going to be really interesting. If, like, the worst pull, I think, for Alex to see would be Mighty Thor. But it looks like we're just filling up.
Is Mighty Thor all that scary?
Mighty Thor draws 2 Mjolnirs, both of which
not.
pump
His hand is full. His hand is completely full. His hand
is... Oh, he just drew a Mjolnir anyway. It draws 1 Mjolnir, but each Mjolnir pumps both Thors. So, I mean, what we're looking at here for Lambie is this is Mjolnir Odin on the Bifrost, right?
Yeah, he can't play it left. I don't know how he's going to get over the top here.
Yeah, I mean, this is just brutal.
I think that this just comes down to how Alex like navigated the early turns, not getting a second chance at this Patriot. I mean, the Chavez pull obviously really solid.
You say that. I think, yeah, the Chavez pull really solid, but the top deck Mjolnir, I get that we were like probably 40% to get one of them, but actually ripping it is just the biggest deal.
Yeah, Mjolnir and the Odin. It's going to be enough to get over the top. And nothing you can really do about that, unfortunately.
Mjolnir! To me!
Mjolnir!
Mjolnir! Mjolnir!
Mjolnir! Mjolnir!
Thor on like an infinite loop here, just yelling about his hammer.
Mjolnir! To me!
Alright, so now all the pressure's on me. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate that.
Well,
thank you so much, Lambie, for taking that dub, but unfortunately now you put it on me. I'm going to get 0-3 swept. Give the win to Binks. It's going to be fantastic. I am the villain at the end. I am the end boss. Let's go.
Well, I'm an end boss as well. Or am I the end hero? I don't know. You never know indeed, right? I think that was an awesome match. I think that Alex had some really great plays. I think that Lambie just showing a masterclass of how to work with your options as well. Just what an absolute fantastic player. Claps in chat for all of our amazing, talented players today. Everyone just did a great job, and I think we put on an awesome show, showing off some non-meta decks and showing that this game can be really awesome without using the cards that are so incredibly popular on ladder. But yeah, I'm really excited. How you feeling? Are you confident, Cam? I think that we have a series of different games. If we want to talk
about our decks, we can talk about our decks. Let's talk about them. So yeah. let's talk about the formats, right? So the first deck is we are going to be having playing one game in the same format that we just saw. I think that you are favored in that matchup, personally. I think you had a pretty good read on what I would be bringing. You brought a deck that has a Tet card, Rogue, that is very good against it. I think the matchup is even-ish without the Rogue. I think with the Rogue, it's significantly in your favor. And I can't wait to find out.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Well, this is going to be the end of us casting. We're going to pass on to 2 other casters. You're going to see us in the danger room battling. KM Best, best of luck to you, my friend.
Wish I could say the same. I'll see you on the battlefield.
Are you ready to reach infinite in Marvel Snap? Well, you need to make sure you're playing the best deck. Find all the top Marvel Snap decks on snap.io. snap.untap.gg. Discover the best decks for your rank and collection level based on the average cubes each deck earns and win rate. You can even see real-time stats about what's performing well for the current hot location. Discover the decks that you can build with your current card collection and import the deck directly into Marvel Snap so you can get into the game. While you're playing, use the untap.gg deck tracker to keep track of the cards in your and your opponent's deck, as well as what's been discarded or destroyed. Untap.gg is your all-in-one destination for decks and stats so that you can conquer the meta. Get started by downloading the Snap deck tracker today at snap.untap.gg.
This is my great day. Not only does Spider-Man fall into my clutches, but my greatest invention is ready. Don't expect applause.
I love watching Cleanup 141 in order to improve my Marvel Snap gameplay.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jay Hugs, the #1 Marvel Snapper in the state of Texas. Check me out on YouTube at JHugsPlays or catch me live on Twitch at twitch.tv/JHugs. See you there.
Wind, aid my hand.
I'll be the roundabout. The words will make you out and out.
Welcome back to the Danger Room, powered by Untapped GG. My name is Falcone. This is the wonderful Teebs, and we are back and ready for the main event. You know, tonight, Teebs, it's all about KM Best versus Binks. Well, this is now KM Best versus Binks.
Absolutely. We've seen these two players pick their teams and battle it out in the first couple of rounds, and it's time for them to go head-to-head themselves and see who can prove themselves and their team to be the superiors.
Absolutely. This is the ultimate grudge match, and it's going to resolve very, very soon. Of course, there's a couple things that we want to go through before we jump straight into the gameplay. Firstly, this is going to be an interesting match. It's a best out of 3 with 3 different formats. The very first one is going to be the same as you've been watching all night. These cards are banned. No Leech, no Thanos, no Shang-Chi. You get the picture. Teebs, what do you think of this ban list?
I think it's amazing. I love the premise, and I think both teams have kind of contributed a solid set of cards here. They've kind of played off each other and narrowed down the archetypes of what's on the table here, and it's been very interesting to see the emergent meta for both teams and their deck selections based off of this. A lot of the sort of most hated cards in Marvel Snap are on this list, so I love to see it. It's a unique event, and it's a fantastic new meta.
So if you've been watching for the last couple hours, you'll know that we've already had a few matches with this format. Well, boom, there is this one, and you can see Binks and KM Best's decks on screen. For Binks, we have a sort of classic Devil Dino deck with Darkhawk and all that good stuff. And on the other side, we have Patriot. And Teebs, this is something that I was thinking about when I first saw the banned cards appear on Twitter a couple of days ago. It's that Patriot wasn't really touched by this ban list at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's one thing about the sort of recent meta on ladder on Live Snap without these bans, is that Patriot's kind of come into its own as a meta contender. I don't want to say for the first time, but in a big way lately, as some of the more powerful decks over the last few months have been cut down. And KM bringing this deck here, he's really able to capitalize on this not getting touched at all by the bans, as you said, and really brings a powerhouse of a showing here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Patriot's one of those decks that I feel like it's been sort of in and out. Like it's sort of every time the meta sort of stabilizes a little bit, and then there's a nerf. It almost feels like the first deck that comes to the top is good old faithful Patriot, because it just does strong things. As we know, Shang-Chi is banned, so that abomination is going to be hard to deal with. And you know, when the cards get too big, they're going to be hard to deal with. But Binks does have the perfect card to deal with the Patriot deck, which is Rogue.
Absolutely. I mean, that deck, it really relies on its ongoings. You have Patriot, you have Khazar, you have Blue Marvel, and then of course Mystique to copy any of them. And Binks with Rogue in this inclusion, you have to wonder if this was a target, a nod to the strength of Patriot decks in this format, because absolutely that could be a very impactful thing to steal one of your opponent's key ongoing abilities and just turn the tide of a match. So we'll have to watch for that in the upcoming games.
I'm going to be honest, Teebs. I think in this format, I am slamming Rogue into my deck like every time. You're not allowed to run Shang-Chi, so you can't deal with big things like Null, etc. with that, or Darkhawk with that card. But Rogue is going to do that trick. And as we see, it's worked out perfectly for KM Best, as it is going to be... Hang on. Sorry, is that the wrong way around? No, for Binks, as it is going to be targeting KM Best's Patriot. Obviously, it can also hit Mystique. It can also hit Blue Marvel, and it can also hit Khazar. We had a little chat about this just before going live. Actually, Khazar could be a card that gets in the way almost, because he's not going to mind if his Khazar gets rogued, if that's blocking the Patriot.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that we'll have to watch for if that's set up carefully and really used in a way that can kind of defensively work to the advantage for the Patriot deck, because I have no doubt that Cam will notice these type of things and set these up given the opportunity. Khazar is, I would say, the weakest of all the ongoings, both in Cam's Patriot deck, and it also does next to nothing if Binks is the one to steal that effect, because that deck has only a single Korg in the 1-drop slot and potentially a Maria Hill card, so really not going to be much of an advantage for Binks to steal. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Cam leveraging that and using that Khazar kind of defensively as a coin flip blocker for the other more powerful ongoings.
You say that now, Teebs, but I'm betting now that there's going to be a game where Binks wins by 2 power, and that is the 2 power that's come from the buffs from the Khazar, stolen from KM Best. We will see if that comes up. This is just the first of a best out of 3, though, and they're not playing these decks in all of the games in the best out of 3. They're actually, or not best out of 3, sorry, because we're playing three matches coming up. The next 2 games are going to be completely different formats, and we'll get into those when we get to those. But trust me, you're not going to want to miss those ones, because they are going to be completely different types of matches to what you have seen so far tonight. So definitely stay posted for that one. Teebs, I'm going to ask you the tough question. Do you have a favorite based on these deck lists?
Based on the deck lists, I mean, I kind of think it's going to come down to that rogue we were talking about earlier. I think KM's deck is maybe a little bit stronger overall, but Binks did bring the tech cards to deal with it. So if everything lines up, might be able to get a win there, but we'll have to see.
It just does feel like Binks has countered KM Best really nicely. And not to mention, Darkhawk, Rockslide, very strong combo. Devil Dinosaur, extremely strong card. Again, one that would be countered by a Rogue or a Shang-Chi, and because Shang-Chi's banned and Rogue wasn't picked, Devil Dino is going to be able to run rampant. Doctor Doom, just generally very strong. Both players are running it. Obviously, it's stronger in KM Best's deck because it gets the buffs from the Doom bots get the buffs from the Patriot. But still, it's 15 power spread across the board. That's great. So they are 2 strong decks, and I think they are 2 of the sort of most naturally strong decks when you consider the cards that have been banned.
Oh, for sure. I mean, both of these decks are reasonably powerful in the regular sort of standard ladder meta of Marvel Snap without the bans. And because neither of them were touched, I mean, the overall power level in this format in particular, these have got to be way up there. So I'm excited to see which one comes out on top here.
All right, Teebs, I have received word. The game is just about...
Oh, yeah, we're just piping into the game here momentarily. The match is getting created, and looks like we might have a Falcone down, but we have an exciting match coming up, and I think really at the end of the day, this is going to come down to that rogue tech, and it's going to come down to the positioning and how well KM can play around it. I'm also curious though, like there's really only so many opportunities for KM to protect his Patriot and to protect his Mystique, because the best way to play around Rogue is to drop those on turn 6, but Doom and Ultron both in the deck, so you kind of want to play those 6 drops on 6. We'll have to see how it goes. We have the game live now. We're into round 1, and KM opening up with a hand of Misty Knight, Storm, Khazar, and Patriot. Strong card, has the namesake card of the deck. Binks on the bottom here with Korg, Sentinel, Rogue, and Zabu, so also has the tech card. We may get a perfect opportunity to see this interaction and this sort of game of cat and mouse with protecting versus stealing these abilities. Both players going for a strong turn 1 drop in that neither of them have a tremendous amount of 1 drops, so they both landed those. And Kiln, interestingly, is much to the advantage, I would say, of KM Best, because this deck can really sneak stats into a closed off lane afterwards. I would say a little more powerful than Binks can, but kind of both players. And Rogue pulled down here on turn 2 by the location, and fascinating turn of events. This key tech card for this match is just gone right off the bat. So KM gotta be feeling good about this. I think the early Storm also probably to his advantage, although Binks is stacking up a lot of stats in Kiln here, so I have to see how this one plays out. Interesting though, both of these lanes going to be filled up early, closed off early rather, and Baxter building with the +3. I think that lane definitely in Binks's favor. Trying to think about how you can put as many points as possible. KM with the snap here, it looks like. And Binks trying to think here. If this is worth staying in at 1 cube, looks like Binks is gonna duck out. And yeah, KM takes game 1. This is this is a tragic showing with the Rogue coming down. KM leveraging that and taking an early lead with a 10-9 advantage here. Moving into game 2, KM Best once again rocking the 1-drops here on curve. Binks a little bit of a heavier hand, but does have that Rogue ability online, and Elysium coming down here. Both of these players going to be able to leverage their curve a little earlier. I think this could be fascinating. Both players have a fairly sizable late game inclusion in their decks, so have to see who's able to take advantage of that one. Although Binks with Sentinel here is going to be able to play these Sentinels every turn for 1 mana, kind of a Kitty Pryde with 3 stats in a sense, but going to cost him a board slot to do this every time. Wakanda Embassy coming down and buffing up the Sentinel, although I believe this interaction was changed recently. Sentinel now no longer carries its stat modifications after being played, so only going to get 1 turn of that. Opting for Darkhawk here on turn 3. 14 stats. KM coming down with Khazar in mid lane. We'll have to see if other ongoings are protected behind that with the coin flips. Okoye and Agatha Harkness. KM pointing at the camera. Big roll here out of X Mansion. Getting that starry-eyed emote, and wow, a 14-2 swing. Binks coming in here with a buff deck, might be able to leverage that a little bit later, but none of these cards are probably going to have anywhere close to offsetting the Agatha, and big factor of the ban list here. Shang-Chi not in the list, not in the format. That Agatha is going to stick, and I wonder, does KM have to worry about that lane? Does Binks just throw X Mansion? We still have 2 cubes on the line, so nothing changing here, but okay, goes for the Mystique on Darkhawk. Ties up X Mansion just like that, although those stats will decay over the course of the game, at least for a little bit. Only a couple rocks potential added back in, but those will be offset by the card draws, so the lane's afoot. The game is afoot again. KM dropping Abomination on the right turn 4, and it's a very interesting game. I mean, Binks has kind of offset this difference here, and we don't have any strong buffs really in hand for KM Best, so we're kind of just working with what we got. Squirrel Girl and Misty Knight both potentially being buffed by Khazar here, but the real juice is missing. It's still in the deck. Binks looking to drop Dr. Doom for 17 total stats here on turn 5. KM answering back with Blue Marvel. And here we see Khazar and Blue Marvel in separate lanes, so Binks does have that Rogue in hand with the opportunity to steal the Blue Marvel buff. KM snap played the turn 6 draw off the top. Didn't get a chance to see what it is, but he's in the tank thinking about whether he wants to keep this turn. Binks running it back, throwing Rogue, throwing Devil, throwing Korg, so huge push into left. Gonna steal stats off the right and is ahead a sizable amount in turn in Elysium there in the middle in turn 6, and I think Binks is looking in a great spot to take this game. See KM, neither player locking in their turn 6 here, so KM does still have the chance to dip out. Not quite sure exactly what he's leaning for, but he seems to have at least settled on what his best line is, and it looks like he's locked in his turn, so KM, I think, going the distance here with this one. Binks really puzzling it out here. We'll have to see if this Blue Marvel steal comes in. Okay, Rogue flipping up. Blue Marvel's gone. KM reading the situation, not reacting very much. Okay, it was Patriot off the top into Debris, filling up his side of the board with some rocks buffed by Patriot and Khazar. Misty Knight comes down in mid, and Squirrel Girl gonna fill the board up, but I think that's only a tie in mid lane. Watch for the buffs to peel in, and he loses Wakanda Embassy by 1. Binks taking the second game here, and it's a 4-cube match, so it's a pretty decisive victory this early into the matchup. And Binks taking the lead 9-6 here. Cam came up real close at the end. I was surprised to see he was able to come back after that blue Marvel steal. And Rogue, the important tech card here from Binks, does work. Puts in the work and takes that second game. Impressive finish. Alright, these players racking it up going into round 3. And we'll have to see. That was kind of more the showing I was expecting out of this Rogue tech, and didn't get a chance to snipe the Patriot, but Cam playing a little off curve there and just kind of relying on Patriot turn 6 and not being able to play his Ultron. He still filled the board up, but with some weaker cards. TVA
All right, Teebs, thank you
up.
for carrying, but I'm back. You can rest your voice for just a second.
Welcome back, Falcone.
I'm going to be straight up with you. What just happened is that my girlfriend wanted to find the Wi-Fi password, and because she didn't want to disturb me, she thought she had checked the box and somehow unplugged it.
Oh no.
That's what just happened. But as I told that story, a whole game just passed.
Quick escape here. Binks dropping Sentinel, and it is Binks retreating off of KM snap, so that's a 8-6 score here. KM, I suppose, with the early board presence and Patriot represented in that snap, and Binks doesn't want any part of it.
And you can't particularly blame him. But here we go. Wow, hang on. Same again?
Yep.
Another cube, another one bites the dust. We are now
Another cube.
entering double stakes, right? High stakes.
Yep, round 5 high stakes. Something I've noticed about this this battle mode sort of tournament meta is that players seem to be oftentimes very, very conservative with their cubes early on. Until we get into the high stakes, I see a lot of 1 cube retreats. And then a lot of times it's the explosive games happening late. We did have that 1-4 cube come down in game 2, but since then it's been a lot of little 1 cube victories and retreats on either side, back and forth. Mojo World here. Who do you think is favorited here in this Mojo World situation?
Well, it's going to be KM Best that's going to be filling up more spaces, I would assume. Although Binks with Maria Hill and White Queen is able to get like a surprising amount of resources.
Yeah,
it's actually difficult to call.
Patriot decks famous for their ability to fill up the board, often literally taking every spot with a turn 6 Ultron play, but Devil Dino decks no slouch either. Maria Hill Sentinel cards you want to play cheaply, early, and pretty much every turn throughout the game. KM turning off the Nexus here with Storm. It's
The thing is, this deck in particular, like, yeah, there's Ultron for endgame, sure. There is a Squirrel Girl and there is a Debris, but Debris helps both players fill up the board. And, like, there's no Mr. Sinister, there's no Bruise. There are a few of those sort of board swelling cards that are missing. As you said, though, Flooding has come down, and now Darkhawk Rockslide is going to just demolish the right lane for Binks, and now KM Best. He's going to struggle to catch up there.
Yeah, the flood is almost certainly going to be won by Binks in this situation if he plays 2 cards there. I have to wonder though if he's gonna maybe overcommit to the flood, especially with this Darkhawk Mystique pairing. KM might have an angle off of this, and this is already a 5 cube game, so KM is forced all in here, has to finish this matchup, and is lost the flood. So
to make matters worse, he's got Patriot out there. If Binks draws Rogue and is able to play it within the next turn or 2, that's pretty much game over.
It could be, although, I mean, KM doesn't have that many stats on Mojo World, and this is early enough that Binks can kind of play cards wherever he wants. And if the flood is locked up as we imagine it to be, I mean, especially with this Rock Slide, KM's only got 6 points in Mojo World with 1 space to go. Dr. Doom coming. Okay, so Mojo World, we have the final score from Binks' perspective. I suppose Blue Marvel could come down, but it's only a 13-point lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is gonna overthrow Mojo World. And is that KM Best trying to retreat? But it's not gonna happen. That's it. That is all
Nope.
cubes gone.
5 cubes. KM, he sees it.
He's not looking very happy, is he, Teebs?
No.
He's shaking
And
his head.
He kind of fell into this position of getting too many low power cards in Mojo World early and isn't able to put enough stats there to contest the lane. He was worried about filling it up, and in doing so, I mean, Binks has the higher power cards, especially without the Patriot Mystique combo for the buffs, and Binks by 1 point ekes it
It's
out in
enough,
Mojo
though.
World.
You know, it's calculated. He knows that the best KM Best can do, as you said, is drop Blue Marvel. I guess no, Mystique wasn't playable because Patriot was
Yep.
played ages ago. No, it was
Cards had
literally
come
just Blue
down.
Marvel. So, Binks gets a point on the board, and that is going to be the first format done with. What do you think of that match, Teebs?
Yeah, I mean, it was explosive. It was a lot faster than I was expecting. Both players happy to play high stakes games. The 4 cube taken down by Binks early, and then a 5 cube again later on what was that game 5? Electric finish to this first format here.
All right, well, that is the first format done, and the second format's coming up. Now, you've seen games like this before. It's going to be a draft pick match, and well, rather than hear about it from me, why don't you watch the draft take place?
Time to draft against the one and only KM Best in a draft mode competition. These are going to be closed deck lists compared to both of our other formats, which are going to be open. So let's get some surprises and some ways to take him out. First pick, we got Silver Surfer, Cyclops, Moon Knight. I think that we can find every 3-drop and just take a Silver Surfer deck, so let's do it. My boy Devil Dinosaur, absolute legend. I think that we can find one move card in here to make Miles Morales worth it. Get us some pretty good movement, but maybe we just go Agent 13. Works well with the Devil Dinosaur, yeah. Maria Hill, really good with the Devil Dinosaur. Can't really do Hella. The Silver Surfer is looking a little bit scary, but we'll make it work. Sentinel. Dude, we're getting just like a full Devil Dinosaur deck. Let's just go with the Sentinel, man. Let's go down this rabbit hole. The people would love to see M'Baku, but it's really hard to take. We'll just take the Rhino. Gives us a light Silver Surfer synergy. The Maximus is disgusting with our Silver Surfer. Finally getting some value here. I could take Leech. I'm a man of the people. I'm not going to take Leech. Let's take our boy Super Scroll. Who knows? Make it some big ongoing effects. If he gets some big ongoing effects, Super Scroll can just win me the game straight up. I think Magento is just a wonderful pick on turn 6. The Miles Morales might be a horrible pick unless we can get like a Juggernaut, maybe another card next turn. So that is very tough. We're going to take the armor. I don't love where we're at here, but we got our deck. We got Agent 13 Uatu in the 1-drop slot. Armor, Maria Hill, Sentinel, lots of 2/3s. Maximus is a really good power card. The Spider-Man, hopefully KM Best grabs a move card and we can do it. Also have the Super Scroll in there, but then the Devil Dinosaur is going to be an absolute menace, especially if you can put it behind that armor. I think for a draft deck, I'm really happy with it. Best of luck, KM Best. I'm coming for you.
Gonna jump into this draft for Binks's Snap Battle. I'm gonna be drafting a deck to beat his draft deck here. Okay, so I think early I'm gonna want to pick up a Bishop just as a good card to have. I'm gonna go with the cheap card early in Rocket Raccoon. There should be no way I actually get to pull off a Galactus here. The other cards here are so bad though. I don't think I can pick up the Galactus. I could maybe pick up the Helicarrier, I think, and that's my top end. Dark Hawk is a great curved card that points me in a certain direction. I'll pick up a Dark Hawk here. Very expensive. I'm gonna take the Claw. Early cards we want at this point, I think. We could have gotten Galactus Null Psylocke, I'll point that out. I'm gonna take the Mr. Sinister. I'm unlikely to ever have my hand empty for the blade. I'm gonna take the blade, but it's mostly on being a 1/3. Could be a very upsetting day for me. I'm gonna take the swarm and maybe get into a discard type thing. I just want to keep the curve low. I'm gonna take the curve out card in the Sentinel and just play a fair game of Marvel Snap. I think that's usually the best thing to do here, but man, like that Apocalypse is really, really interesting. Another 5 is tough to stomach, and it has to be a 5 here. The arrow is the one that is the most powerful, I think. I'm gonna take the arrow. All right, at this point, I just want cards that I can play early. Iron Fist is coming down here. Wolverine adds a little bit to what we do as a discard synergy. Not that we have a ton of discard synergy, but I like being able to play Blade safely a lot of the time. It is done. This is the draft that I'm going to play against Binks with, and it looks like a fairly standard, like, aggressive deck that can just put some points on the board. It won't be able to beat anything going super over the top, but it looks like a game. I will get to play fair games of Marvel Snap, so I'm definitely into that. I'll see you on the battlefield.
Yeah, KM Best is going to get to play fair games of Marvel Snap, but like, I don't know, Teebs. There's a Helicarrier, there's a Swarm, there's a Wolverine, and only a single blade to trigger any of that?
Yeah, but I mean, at least that's something. Over on Bink's side, we have a Spider-Man with absolutely zero movement at all, other than KM's Iron Fist. So there's the Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man. This is notably not a movement deck.
Notably not a movement deck, exactly. Well, no. I was about to say, well, it could be. I tell you what, teams. I've got it. Right. Limbo, turn 6 Magneto, turn 7 Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yep.
Wait, does that work, or does it have to be one of your cards that move? Actually, no.
Anyone's.
Yeah, I thought it was anyone's. Right. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought it was anyone's. I just wanted to double check before I
fake
sounded too stupid.
KM does have Arrow though, so we could see it on turn 6.
That's it.
Helicarrier is just kind of a Hulk with some stats missing for the most part. I mean, maybe we see Blade. Interesting though, the Bishop I think could be a strong card here. Cam does have a lot of low curve stuff, and ideally, I mean, you kind of want to curve out with that, but if we don't get a perfect curve, then yeah. Something.
Well, we're going to find out straight away. KM Best does not get the dream opening hand of Blade, Wolverine, Helicarrier, Swarm, but that's okay. Uatu is a card that we never see.
I love this card.
Can we find out these locations as casters, or do we have to wait until KM Best sees them? That's the Nexus.
Nexus? I mean, I suppose if we click them here. Binks, give us the future sight. No such luck. Okay. KM dropping Sentinel here. This is a great format to show off your variants of underplayed cards.
Absolutely.
Love that for this.
Yeah, all right, we get it. I like that KM Best put his Sentinel on the same location that Uatu was played, because, you know, he's thinking if there is a Sanctum Sanctorum or something like that, or, you know, or a Death's Domain or something, you want to put your cards there, and because that's where Binks would have put his card with knowledge from Uatu, so there's a few mind games going on here.
Uatu is a play in the dark magnet for your opponent. They think you've got some insight into what's going on, and they almost always play there. You can kind of leverage that to your advantage sometimes, though. You play there, and you know your opponent's got a lot of 2s.
Is Super Skrull going to do something? It counters the Claw.
Yeah, I mean, it mirrors the Claw. I don't know if I'd quite say it counters it.
Sure, yeah.
It's a decent interaction, I suppose. I think it's kind of a 4-2 here. That's going to be +2 for Devil Dinosaur more so than anything else.
Now, Devil Dinosaur being played on the left tells me that Binks is planning on playing Rhino in the Nexus next turn.
Oh, definitely. I think, I mean, this deck does have a decent amount of power that could be good to play into the Nexus, but we know that KM has Arrow, so I have to imagine that this is a play to play safely around Arrow, although...
The thing is, if your opponent thinks the Nexus is going to do its thing, they might jam all of their cards there, in which case Binks playing Rhino on the Nexus could just auto-win him the game, right?
Absolutely. Although KM has priority here, so this arrow, I mean, if he chooses to Galaxy Brain this line.
No, it only affects the last card, right? So it's
Oh,
only
yeah.
going to hit Agent 13 now.
Arrow rework. You're absolutely right. And KM is going for it.
Oh, Binks' Rhino is going to just win him the game, I think. Unless
Incredible.
I'm missing something.
No,
Yeah.
I think you're right. Devil's even going to gain more stats here.
4 cubes, Teebs. 4 cubes. Straight away. Binks showing that he knows what's up. What a start.
Explosive round 1. Incredible. And, I mean, just wonderfully played. We saw a surprising use of tech cards in a format that is almost entirely randomly created.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that
Maybe
really
this is just
speaks-
how you're supposed to play Marvel Snap.
Yeah, it really speaks to the beauty of this game, that the way the locations interact with the cards, there's always potential for something interesting to happen. Alright, Binks here with the armor. Tossing down, protecting this left lane, getting a little stat advantage, I think, more so than anything. I'll have to see what Sakaar brings down for these players. No more Sakaar?
Yeah, that cigar is gone. It's gonna bring out the claw though.
Yeah, that's I think
Just in the nick
KM
of
definitely
time.
coming out ahead on this one. Not by a wide margin, but Binks though will have a chance to get that super scroll down like you were talking about, and potentially do something interesting with this claw over on his side.
The thing is, KM Best also has Darkhawk, so Super Scroll is potentially going to be a pretty strong card.
Oh yeah, if you manage to get multiple ongoings out of this deck, that could be quite something.
I, for one, am very excited for Super Scroll to move down to Series 3, because I still don't have that card yet.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's one of those cards that is interesting, and in the right meta, I could see it being very strong, but it's hard to really justify buying. So
Yeah.
this is a beautiful place to see it in a format like this, and I mean, yeah, exciting to see it become more accessible next week.
All right, Big Devil Dino on the left for Bink, Sentinel number 3 for KM Best on the right, and there it is. There's the
There it
Darkhawk.
is.
This Super Scroll, if drawn, it's
One
gonna
more
be
shot.
huge.
One more shot. Binks is looking at a solid turn 5, but no super scroll yet in hand. Holding that Uatu, holding that Maximus for the last turn. And, I mean, KM is just seemingly happy to play Sentinels all day.
I think Binks, in tournaments like this, Binks really shows just how good he's gotten at Marvel Snap, at playing uncommon decks in Marvel Snap. You know, this is what Binks is known for. He's known for building all of these weird decks and finding a way to make them work. And essentially, that's what a draft format is. It's building a weird deck and finding a way to make it work.
Yep. Absolutely. And I mean, Binks has such a creative mentality and approach to the game.
Magneto could be the game-winning card. Pulling the Darkhawk, I mean, out of Monster
Yeah.
Island.
Although Binks could opt to play Sentinel +1 card and I believe stay up by 1 point on Monster Island.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Not sure if that's entirely necessary. It does mean that he has to be careful not to play that Uatu or Electra, though.
He's going to just dump everything.
He's jamming, and Magneto, though, if that Elysium lane gets filled up,
That's what I was
Monster Island
thinking.
could go to KM Best, so you got to be a little careful here. Although, I mean, Elysium with that 12 points, it's close. It's a tough call if you're in Binks' spot here. I don't know how you feel about it. Magneto mid is a little bit safer in the sense that there's 2 spots, but with that Elysium, both players probably going to be able to throw most of their hand down. Fill up the board. See how KM opted to play his cards here.
Well, obviously KM's board is full, so Magneto isn't going to be putting anything anywhere. There's the big helicarrier.
Yep.
And
it's Blade last, so Binks is going to take it. Yeah, the Sentinel Magneto and stays ahead by 1 in Monster Island. There it is for 2 cubes. And Binks, sizable lead. I think that creativity advantage and working with underutilized cards that you were talking about earlier, Falcone, is coming in here. As Binks is untouchable in this format.
But also, Devil Dinosaur is a really strong card, right?
true.
Devil Dino is just so strong, just carrying.
Funny that he managed to get Sentinel to go alongside it too. Got a lot of leverage out of that card. Did a couple copies.
Yeah.
Built the hand back up. KM Best with the Rocket Raccoon.
There you go. I mean, it's the mind games we were talking about earlier, right? Typically, Uatu is often played in the location that hasn't been revealed, and KM Best is going to just... or I'm just talking rubbish, and KM Best is psychic. I don't know. Either way, it worked out.
Yeah, I got the soul reads on that Rocket Raccoon. And Binks, I mean, has the wave here. A little bit dangerous. I would say KM has a slightly heavier deck on average. Neither of these players particularly suited to leverage that. Although Binks gonna maybe pull Bishop in here. Does have priority, so it's just gonna be a 1-for-1 disadvantage in terms of Jotunheim. And the snap comes through.
A lot of confidence. KM Best isn't even phased at the moment, you know. He might be 6 cubes down. He don't care.
No,
they don't call
he
him
is
KM
lounging.
Best for nothing.
Deciding on this snap here before locking the turn in.
Oh.
That's going to be a retreat.
All right. Maybe they do call him KM Best for nothing.
Dang. All right, so yeah, that's 7 cubes down, 3 to go.
Yeah, and you know, in a couple games we're going to be entering high stakes, so it's very soon going to be at that point where KM Best needs to win every game. I'm almost surprised that Binks hasn't just snapped straight away.
The anti-snap.
Just
yeah,
to
it's a common
start.
strategy in this format. Just once you have enough of a lead, just make your opponent pay an extra cube.
Just
See
start
their
applying the pressure.
Second turn every game. Yep.
Because it matters here, right? Like if KM Best loses 2 cubes, that's it. His last life. Next game isn't high stakes. The one after is. So like, a snap here would, I believe, actually mean something.
Well, this is game 4 though, right? So next game will be high stakes either way.
So game 4? I thought it was. Oh, you're right. Sorry, I thought that this was game 3.
We had a 4, a 2, and a 1. So
You're right. I
KM,
forgot about the 1. Yeah, you're
2
right.
lives either way, unless this game gets big. But
Yeah,
we'll have to see.
I'm talking rubbish. The snap doesn't make any sense because, as you say, it's high stakes next round. My bad.
Binks committing to Hala, but gonna toss an armor behind it anyways. Mysterio coming down.
Let's hope the middle one wasn't the real one. KM Best did just roll his eyes then. There was
Yeah.
a definite eye roll there. So that may have been the real one.
A little spooky to play the real Mysterio in Danger Room, but KM looking for stats there and didn't get him.
What is
Darkhawk
Binks-
coming down, so KM securing Hala, but not gonna matter with this armor.
What do you think
He's
Binks is
planning ahead.
planning on hiding behind that invisible woman? Is it Super Scroll?
Super
Yeah, it is.
Skull. There it is.
KM Best
Onto it,
hasn't
Falcon.
seen that yet.
Nope.
And I'm not sure if
Darkhawk
they
down.
know each other's deck lists.
Here comes Claw. So
Oh
this is
my
gonna be a huge Binks
Gosh.
pointing to his own brain, taking up the entire camera frame. He's hidden this down, and KM looking quite solid here. There's a 4-drop behind Hala. How bad could it be? Well, pretty bad. Darkhawk and Claw are gonna come down and just absolutely swing this game back.
You know what, Teebs? Marvel Snap is Binks' world, and we are just all living in it. It's you say that he's pointing at his brain, it's taking up the whole screen. I think that we're inside his brain right now. I think his brain is so big that it's taking up the entire world here.
Yep. Cam sticking 4 points in Danger Room, so I'm not sure that Binks has this anymore on mid, but he is definitely going to get Hala, and that Dino you were talking about earlier, way overkill in the hub with 16.
Ah, KM
And?
Best is shocked. The real one was on the right, but it doesn't matter. Binks is gonna take it. Another 2 cubes. And I've had it confirmed that both decks are closed to the players. They do not know each other's deck lists. So KM Best would have had no idea that Super Scroll was a possibility there.
He saw that flip up live at the same time we all did, and it looks like he took his hat off to it. beautiful play by Binks, hiding that in and just clutching it out on turn 6.
Now there's just no snapping. KM Best has 1 life. That's it.
1 life. And to Binks is 10. Mind you, I have seen the 10-1 comeback before, but
really,
in this format, this is Binks' home turf, and KM's got a absolutely massive
KM Best
battle.
has to win 5 games of Marvel Snap in a row in a world where there won't be any retreating whatsoever, because there is no reason to retreat. The maximum amount of cubes is in the game from the get-go. Every single one of these games is going to game 6. It's going to turn 6. And KM Best has to win them all.
Super Skrull coming down. Project Pegasus is very interesting here. We were talking about this earlier, that the Miles Morales has very, very few movement activators.
Yeah.
Not currently in hand from Binks, but I don't know. Cam's thinking about the arrow this turn. Opting not. Oh, and he's gonna tuck that claw into Morag, so Binks does have the opportunity to top deck Miles Morales. Super Skrull coming down, stealing the claw activation, so KM was cheeky, pitching 6 extra stats in a Mojo World to lock it up with low-cost cards for the plus 100 potential, and plus 6 for the winning the lane on stats if it's a tie potential. But Binks just steals it right back, and now KM not going to be able to leverage that Darkhawk either. And Miles off the top, Binks has done it. He's found a way to get Miles for 1 in a deck where the only inherent movement activator is a 6-drop.
Well, KM Best found it for him. He found it for him by playing the Iron Fist.
Fair enough, Falcone.
I'm still just getting over the Super Scroll from the last game. Like, playing it behind Invisible Woman, which was randomly generated. That couldn't have worked out better for Binks.
And there it is, KM Best again, committing the Darkhawk. Super Skrull's already on the board, but he just doesn't seem to have a better play on turn 4. And that's brutal. He's essentially having to give up Morag here.
He's shaking his head. KM Best is about to get... Do we have a phrase for getting like 10 cubed in Marvel Snap yet?
I don't know. We need to workshop this.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to... If anyone in the chat can work out, what term are we using for winning a game of battle mode with the full 10 cubes?
Devil Dino coming down here. And Binks, I mean... tremendously strong board state, although slightly awkward turn 6, I will say. That Silver Surfer, not really finding many buff targets. Gonna rely on Devil Dino winning the right side lane here. Ham plays mid, and that'll do it.
Binkst. My favorite one in the chat is Binkst. KM Best just got Binkst.
Binkst.
That is now, as far as I'm concerned, the official terminology for losing a game of battle mode without taking a single cube off of your opponent. KM Best just got Binkst.
Absolutely. What a powerful showing. And you called this right from the jump. Binks absolutely shining in this draft format, playing a deck of just kind of off-meta mishmash cards, and absolutely finding ways to make incredibly shocking plays with this Super Skrull, and took the game on the back of a card that just, who plays it?
This is what Binks does, and usually Binks has to do it on a ladder, playing against all of the Shuris, all of the Red Skulls, all of the Thanoses. Well, now it's like Binks's weighted training vest has been removed, and he is dominating. We are going to go to one last small break before coming back with the final match between these two great players with a slightly different format, so do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to reach infinite in Marvel Snap? Well, you need to make sure you're playing the best deck. Find all the top Marvel Snap decks on snap.untap.gg. Discover the best decks for your rank and collection level based on the average cubes each deck earns and win rate. You can even see real-time stats about what's performing well for the current hot location. Discover the decks that you can build with your current card collection and import the deck directly into Marvel Snap so you can get into the game. While you're playing, use the Untap.gg deck tracker to keep track of the cards in your and your opponent's deck, as well as what's been discarded or destroyed. Untap.gg is your all-in-one destination for decks and stats so that you can conquer the meta. Get started by downloading the Snap Deck Tracker today at snap.untap.gg.
This is my great day. Not only does Spider-Man fall into my clutches, but my greatest invention is ready. Don't expect applause.
I love watching Cleanup 141 in order to improve my Marvel Snap gameplay.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jay Hugs, the #1 Marvel Snapper in the state of Texas. Check me out on YouTube at JHugsPlays or catch me live on Twitch at twitch.tv/JHugs. See you there.
Wind, aid my hand.
I'll be the roundabout. The words will make you out and out.
We are back with the Danger Room, powered by Untapped GG. And this is getting serious now, teams, because before we started with our headline match, of Binks versus KM Best. Team KM Best were winning 2-1. But now, due to Binks' incredible performance in the previous 2 games, Team Binks is winning 3-2. So if Binks wins this, we have a definitive win. But otherwise, we might end up with a tie here.
Yeah, absolutely. Binks picked a team of players who he said were sort of fun, easygoing, just vibing type of people. And I feel like he's really capitalized on having so much of that energy around him that he sort of seems to bring to the game and to the matchups himself. And he's really just sort of put the team on his back and pulled through here, taking the first 2 games in a row off of KM. And yeah, has a chance to just win it all for his team here if he sweeps this.
It's really, really quite impressive. Let's talk about the format of this 3rd and final match. So there are banned cards this time, but it's been done a little bit differently. It's been a case of pick, ban, a little bit like you'd see in a MOBA game. So I actually have a sort of brief rundown of the order that the cards were banned. We got that Shuri and Leech and Electro and Thanos were banned first. Then Shang-Chi was picked, by the looks of it, by KM Best. Then Doctor Doom was picked by Binks. They were the first picks, Shang-Chi and Doctor Doom. And it went for, I don't quite have time to talk you through the whole pick order here. But this is what we've ended up with. And this is definitely an interesting combination of decks.
Yeah, I love this format. I think this is perhaps my favorite conceptually from this event. And I'm excited to see how this matchup plays out with these 2 players sort of really bringing this format to the surface for the first time, at least from what I'm familiar with, playing off of each other's picks and bans. And, we've got some exciting decks here. I really don't know who to give this one to.
It's interesting because in addition to banning cards, when a player, I guess, picks a card, they are also banning it from their opponent at the same time, because I think each card can only be used once. So, like, it's the mind games in terms of the pick order, like your opponent starts to pick cards that are going towards a certain synergy. You can then snipe other key cards from what would be in that deck and prevent them from building towards that synergy.
Yeah, so using the chance to take a ban on your opponent just says, okay, we can't play this card. But you can also sacrifice one of your picks for a card that may or may not have synergy with your own deck just to deny it from your opponent, which is very interesting.
Yeah. It's like you're taking Sauron, I'll take Typhoid Mary. Like, for example, like that's not what's happened. Typhoid Mary hasn't been picked, but that's the kind of thing you can do here.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how these players have sort of pivoted through over the course of the pick ban phase, and kind of had maybe a deck archetype in mind early on, and then as the bans and the opponent's picks unfold, you kind of have to pivot on the spot and say, okay, this is no longer accessible to me. We're gonna try to go some other direction with this, or we're gonna pick sort of, B tier cards that support this archetype rather than playing like the sort of the premier version of the deck. And it really, I think, is a beautiful way to test these players' creativity and deck building chops in a way that, a normal sort of ban list where you sort of have all this time to be in the tank optimizing around it doesn't really do. So I'm curious to see if this benefits Binks in the similar way that the last format did.
I'm curious as to Ebony Maw being picked actually quite early from Binks. The double Yondu there is going to get rid of a lot of KM Best's deck. I was wondering, can I get confirmed by production if the deck lists are open this time? Do they? Oh, of course, because they've had to know what their opponents picked in order to know what they can pick. So yeah, of course it's open. That was a stupid question.
All right, well, loading into game 1 here, we have Sinister London, and Binks is throwing down on the double Yondu. Burn a couple cards off the top of KM's deck.
See, I was wondering if the Yondu was particularly relevant for information, but no, the deck lists are open, so Binks already knows what's there. That's
just
why I brought that up.
Chunk Death's cost down right off the start.
Yeah.
Stark Tower coming in, and I mean, KM's got this beautiful Quinjet Sentinel combo lined up. Binks
Tower?
tossing down Sauron turn 3, which is going to turn off that Ebony Maw's
Yeah.
not only ongoing effect, but also his play condition. So you
That's
can-
right.
Not only do you not have to play him on turn 3, but you can play him whenever you want, and you can play more cards afterwards.
It just removes all text from the card, essentially. It's also going to remove the text from Binks's Cosmo, as we just saw him hovering over. Is Titania's effect ongoing?
No, I think it's just a sort of worded effect. I don't know if there's a category title for those, but
No,
Titania's
there
unaffected.
isn't. Yeah, okay.
So Binks tossing Cosmo down on Stark Tower just to lock the +2 points up later. Him opting to leverage the Sinister London here. She-Hulk's a big card, so... Binks going maybe for the Titania lock here, and if Cam opts to play a single card into Sinister London, which he does, Binks is
now
going to
it's-
toss Titania... Oh,
Oh, yeah. No,
Titania
because
stays, but no follow-up.
that was so confusing with the arrow, with the second arrow. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Final turn.
Okay, so what do you make of this? I mean, if Cam plays, it doesn't matter. But Cam's ahead in the lane, and if Binks plays one card, Titania's gonna go over. This
That
is
is
a very
awkward.
interesting puzzle.
Because Binks, I guess the obvious card to play is Doctor Doom because he fills up. Well, he fills up everything if he plays Doctor Doom
Yep.
in Sinister London. But is that ever enough to actually win the game? Because as you said, the Titania moves back if KM Best doesn't play anything. Gosh, this is confusing.
Cam is just having a blast over there, trying to sort this one out. I mean, it's really a mind games logic puzzle here. Do you play Sinister London? Can you get enough points without playing there? If you're Cam and you don't play there, can Binks pop down 13 stats? I don't
Do you
think
know
so.
what? It's not going to matter. Binks decides all of our brains are hurting too much, and he does us the courtesy of just ending that one right there.
Yep, getting out with 2 cubes down. So Cam taking the early 10-8 lead. Round 1, going into round 2, and Atlantis flips up first location. Binks has a very light hand, which I think you love to see in this context.
Absolutely. Well, Iceman's going to make it a little heavier, but
So turn 1-0, gonna turn that Ebony Maw off if that is indeed the play here. Binks, yeah, shaping up to drop that in the dark.
slightly better than playing the Titania, especially with the increased cost on the Ebony Maw. It's like, yeah, let's get that out of the way now.
Yep. And I think this is a pretty strong early curve from Binks, although KM Best does have 2 cards in his hand that are both fantastic into Atlantis. Shang-Chi is very easily able to pick a target in Atlantis if your opponent is on a single card, and Arrow also has a potential turn 5 or 6 play, able to swing something in there and turn off the +5 for your opponent if they have already played their card to Atlantis at that point. This tower though too, I mean, Cam's hand looks very well suited for this map.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That arrow is gonna cause a little bit of chaos there. Carnage with Squirrel Girl is like fine, I guess. Is there any?
I mean, trying to puzzle this turn out. What do you do here? You got a lot of cards that you'd be fine destroying, but Westview is blocked off by armor. Ebony Maw's in Fisk Tower. You don't want to destroy that. Atlantis is the only good spot, but...
Well, Cosmo in Fisk Tower shuts off Arrow in Fisk Tower. And also
That's true.
shuts off Shang-Chi in Fisk Tower. So, like, Binks has sort of shown us that he's going to try and lock down that location. Titania played in Onslaught Citadel is real nice if he can lock this up. But he doesn't, because KM Best doesn't play anything there.
Successfully worked around this one for now. Binks setting up to probably Carnage into Atlantis next turn. It's Wave off the top. Oh. Enchantress might be interesting for later. Turn off the armor, turn off the Mr. Fantastic. I don't think there's going to be enough time left to leverage the Carnage into mid, and it's especially awkward with the Titania. But I mean, 2 juicy targets over there. Might find a answer for that next turn. And interesting that Binks is opting to go Carnage now, just from a mana usage perspective. Snap coming down.
Snap, I think I think that was from KM Best.
Looks like it's gonna stick.
Hard to tell. But yeah, KM Best now able to play She-Hulk plus Arrow. Or She-Hulk plus Devil Dino.
Or She-Hulk Shang-Chi.
Yeah. She-Hulk Shang-Chi's a little riskier because if Binks did play anything in Atlantis, then Carnage is going to lose the power.
Could
And
turn it
wouldn't-
off, yeah. And I mean, he's also already winning the lane.
Yeah, so I don't think Shang-Chi's...
Onslaught Citadel Devil Dino's gotta be
but-
the line here.
Binks has just showed us that he's considering Enchantress in the middle. That would shut off Mr. Fantastic, which would win Binks the left lane. And if Devil Dino's played in the middle, it would shut that off too. So
It would
Enchantress
also-
mid is really huge.
And Binks playing off curve last turn, holding this Enchantress into turn 6. KM gaining priority and just
Ah.
not gonna play it out. And this is incredible.
It was the Enchantress was just almost so good, right? It was just I guess that little bit too risky, given that if there was a 2-drop or something he could play with it, he'd probably have gone for it.
Yeah.
But just turn 6 Enchantress, that's it. Is just it's not good enough.
Dang. And it's really interesting to see how players operating with their one-sided information. It's being a game of incomplete information. Binks plays Yondu into Superflow. Turn 2 gonna be down a mana
See?
for the rest of the game.
It wouldn't have happened if he had Uatu in his deck.
It's true. It's true. Maybe draft mode can teach us a thing or two. One of the lesser popular cards in the game, although Uatu was in the deck I used to hit Infinite this season.
Really?
That's something.
Ah.
Sunspot got nerfed, and I was like, what's the next best 1-drop? I'm already playing Iceman.
Wow,
Maybe
fair
Uatu.
enough. Maybe I need to give it a try. I haven't played Uatu since I was in Series 1.
Uh-huh. Same for me until now. KM Best already able to jam She-Hulk down on the board thanks to the extra mana from Superflow in his previous turn. And, I mean, it's looking like a great start. Binks is behind by location. He's behind on board. Does have that Sauron down, though, and we'll have to see this combo that he's enabled over the course of his draft picks, if this can help bail him out.
They're not going to
move
do
there.
anything there. Yeah, obviously KM Best deciding that he doesn't need the extra energy and that somehow disrupting Binks' play is going to do more for him than the extra energy in the long run.
Yeah.
But it didn't end up disrupting him. So it's actually just backfired.
Yep, and he's now surrendered that extra mana for the rest of the game. Although, I mean, I guess at some point you gotta play there. Maybe he's thinking he wants to get the... I believe he's got Mr. Fantastic from his hand that is in his sort of cards played queue right now. So I have to imagine that he was wanting to play that sooner or later and was going to sacrifice the mana at some point anyways.
Yeah, exactly. You want to play Mr. Fantastic in the middle for sure.
Enchantress coming down here from Binks. That's going to be a miss.
Mr.
And adding some rocks into his deck.
Mr. Fantastic being the entire turn 5. That KM Best's hand is just so awkward here, and there's gonna be Binks is gonna get ready to retreat. I wouldn't be too surprised if KM Best also tries to retreat here.
I mean, yeah, potentially. Devil Dino potentially able to swing Lechguila.
Oh.
And I think that Giggle is a simultaneous retreat.
No, Binks lost a. I'm pretty sure Binks lost a cube there.
Binks lost the cube. Yeah, KM definitely hasn't lost the cube, so.
I think
Looks like
maybe it
that's
was a
it.
case of KM Best considering retreating and then being like,
Yeah.
oh no, I'll play it out. And then, oh yeah, okay, that's great. My opponent retreated.
super low confidence situation there, but Double Dino was enough to take left side with the +2 from Mr. Fantastic. So
It's
Best-
nice to see the retreat later button actually doing something in these tournaments, because I feel like for the average person playing ladder, they just don't bother with it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a slight technical edge, but also there's a time efficiency thing to this game.
Yeah.
And I mean, those are kind of factors of each other. Binks throwing down the Cosmo. Sentinel's just very, very strong with Elysium here. Okay, I'm going to be able to leverage that for the rest of the game and no longer play them on Elysium, but I don't think that's going to phase him too much, as Binks looks to drop a 0 Ebony Maw combo for a whopping 0 mana, 10 stats, mid. You gotta love that if you're a Binks fan. And Enchant, I'm curious about this Enchantress play. Falcone, what do you think about this? Seems like it could be a swing card potentially later in this game.
I guess Binks is just thinking sheer power, but he would have had the opportunity to play it later, presumably, because Doctor Doom... Wait, does Binks have America Chavez in the deck? I don't remember. I think he does.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, and that's why, right? Like, Binks is able to play the 2 cheap cards now on turn 4, Doctor Doom on turn 5, and America Chavez on turn 6. Like that, it just curves out nicely.
Yep. So no chance later. And I mean, also, if you're KM Best here and you see a Cosmo already down in the lane, I have to imagine that you're kind of just playing your ongoing cards behind Cosmo. We've seen the Enchantress already, so Binks probably not going to be able to leverage that on either of the side lanes. Showing off the gold foil Kirby Crackle Dr. Doom. Beautiful split. Alright, so here's the armor.
Then the Bifrost is going to do its thing, which means when you consider Dr. Doom, Bifrost is sort of clogged up now for Binks. Only an extra 5 power going there, but like, I don't know, like it's looking really good with a 0 energy Titania that can be played on the final turn as well. That's huge.
Yeah, that might throw the math off here of what KM might be expecting or anticipating. Double Dino coming down, and look at the Sentinel count. Turn 5, 4 Sentinels.
I mean,
Absolutely amazing.
The days of Future Past season's gone. Like we don't need more Sentinels now. Like we've been there, done that. We're all about the pets now, right?
Yep.
Get with the times, KM Best. Where's your goose?
Well, he's playing the new Double Dino, and so
That's true.
Double Dino's the pet, and Sentinel's Double Dino's pet.
I'll let him off.
How the
That's
math
right.
works on that.
Yeah.
Binks kind of in a rough spot here. I mean, America Chavez not going to do it on the surface, although maybe KM plays enough cards can eat this one out. Second Double Dino coming down on the right.
Sentinel's
That
going to even
Sentinel's
this
gonna
up.
Buff mid, yeah.
It's a tie. Oh, but Titania.
Titania
Oh,
comes
dear.
over. And I didn't have time to math it out. I'm not sure what would have happened, but I'm pretty sure KM would have won on breakers either way, no?
Yeah. He would have done
Okay.
it. What is for sure, Teebs, is that Binks has 1 life remaining. I think Binks might be about to get Binksed.
This term was freshly minted not half an hour ago, and KM learned the new tech, and he is just throwing it right back at Binks. 10-1. This is his last life, and we're into game 5 again. This is a 2-cube situation. High stakes. Binks is now the one who has to run it back 5 times in a row.
Yeah, and that's easier said than done.
Opening with the turn 1 Titania. What do you think of this sort of throw it down and see what happens type of gameplay?
I'm into it, but I have a pretty small brain, so that's fine.
Fair enough. I mean, it's maybe the most exciting use of Titania.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's Titania makes both players have to think really hard.
Yep.
Constantly. like I like to just throw it down and forget about it and just let my opponent worry about it, and hopefully that they spend so much time worrying about it that I can just focus on my other locations and win them.
Yeah. And the Strange Academy flip up actually complicates this even a step further. KM playing Sentinel in the dark onto Strange Academy, which could potentially move over far left on Tinker's Workshop and flood the lane for KM without really wanting to. Cosmo turned off by Sauron. We were talking about this one earlier. I think it's not much of a showing in terms of priority though, so I don't know if this will end up mattering that much.
I was turned off by Sauron and turned off by Zero. I was turned off twice.
This Cosmo is a cute dog and nothing more this game.
Well, Dr. Doom, again, playable for 5 energy thanks to the Titan location. If he gets... Strange Academy is then going to move the Boombot into the left location, or move Dr. Doom into the left location, whichever. Okay, doesn't matter
Binks
at all.
coin flipped in one direction and KM changed it back. This does mean that Titania is going back. Oh no, because Binks didn't play it there.
No. Wait, is that how it
Interesting.
works?
If Binks had... yeah, because Arrow doesn't consider the card played there for Titania's sake. So if Binks had played that left, KM would have been locked up. We'll have to see if that ends up mattering in this game. Although, it's not looking like it's going to matter here. Because KM has to play the 2 stats to tie, 3 to win. Titania is not coming over. But...
So, Devil Dino in the middle or in the middle and Armor on the left isn't that enough to win?
that should do
It
it.
is enough to win.
Yeah, Devil Dino, 5 cards in hand. Sentinel, even an extra
Doing it.
stat. 6 cards in
of course.
hand.
And that, as they say, is that. And as has been foretold, Binks got Binksed.
Incredible. What a showing. Just 2 back-to-back 10-0s. These players splitting them.
And
One
you know
victory
what
at
that
each.
means, Teebs? That means that when all is said and done, it's a tie.
It's a perfectly split down the middle, perfectly balanced as all
As
things
all
should
things
be.
should be.
3-3. 4-4.
Yeah, 4-4, and I think that's a really nice way. I think that's a
3-3.
really nice way to end it. Like we had some really cool games. Both teams able to show they got what it takes. Both Binks and KM Best being able to get one over on the other. And honestly, teams like these have been some really fun to watch games.
Absolutely. Fun to watch, fun to cast. I have to imagine the players had a blast. Seeing them through the player cams there, just laughing and having a great time. I mean, what a creative and fantastic format. Both the draft, I mean, the draft is a little more familiar, but the MOBA pick ban? Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I always say when I'm casting these Marvel Snap tournaments that because, battle mode is still so new and these tournaments are still so new, all of these tournaments are still trying to sort of find out what works, and there's no way better to do that than to just try everything all in one tournament and just put the players through their paces, and I think it's worked out really nicely. There's only one thing left to do, Teebs, and that is to make some thank yous. I believe we got some thank yous that we need to make. So where are they? There are thank yous. Thank you to our participants. Of course, thank you to KM Best and Binks for leading your teams. Thank you to Labby Series, Moyen, Cleanup, D-Money, Alexandra Kocher, and Loopy Fist, all for participating. And Teebs, thank you for casting with me.
Thanks for casting with me, Falcone. I've had a blast. These have been some great matchups, and yeah.
Of course,
Beautiful.
a huge thank you to all of the staff that worked tirelessly behind the scenes just to make these happen. These Marvel Snap events are a blast. I'm sure you'll agree they're a blast to watch. And it's all thanks to these guys. And you didn't give me time to read everyone's names and thank you all individually. What's up with that? And of course, I want to give a huge thank you to Untapped GG for powering the event. Of course, we couldn't run these without them. And thank you to everyone for watching. Like, Marvel Snap Esports is still this new thing that might happen. It's looking really good at the moment. And I'm personally really passionate about it. I know that you are as well, Teebs. And I mean, everyone that worked on this is. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in. And we will be back again, I am sure, very soon.